Chapter 13-17. Milky Way Leader, don't worry. After this defeat, many of the scattered clans that had defected to the Bug Clan, Demon Clan and Automaton Clan will definitely change their mind. A lord of the universe with an earthen yellow upper body and many octopus-like tentacles as his lower limbs spoke in a sonorous voice. The alliance between the three races wasn't stable to begin with. Since we've lost, it's normal for some races to leave the alliance. The three races naturally wouldn't dare to forcefully restrain us. If they did, they would definitely receive backlash from the other clans. When that time comes, we'll naturally join the Great Alliance. Good. Luo Feng smiled and nodded. Joining the Great Alliance, no matter if we win or lose the final battle, we humans will guide you in training the strongest warriors of the universe, the ancient civilization's experiences. However, right now I can't let you out. Once your clan leader Chu Fu comes, I'll naturally let you out. Luo Feng promised. This I understand. The octopus lower body alien replied obediently. What a joke, they were all locked up in the Star Pagoda and their lives were in the hands of the Milky Way leader, who would dare to be dissatisfied. Luo Feng leaned on the railing and gazed at the endless darkness that was rippling with the Thousand Treasure River. His expression, however, was serious. Even though he had spoken to the 12 Universe Lords alone and gained some benefits, Luo Feng was clear. The small number of scattered clans that had defected to the alliance actually had a very small effect on the overall situation. However, no matter how small a mosquito was, it was still meat. Right now, the human race that had fallen into a predicament had to grab hold of every piece of meat and swallow it. The three-race alliance is just a test. The true battle hasn't even begun. Luo Feng felt immense pressure as he looked at the distant endless space. The storm was coming. This was a terrifying storm that would engulf the entire primal universe. The three-race alliance's defeat had a profound effect. There were pros and cons to the human race. The cons were that the other powers would raise the threat of humanity to a whole new level, and would probably go all out. However, in comparison, the pros outweighed the cons after all. If they wanted to attack humanity, they would definitely go all out. And the pros were many. The most important was to attract the middle powers to join them. Demon Territory, a normal-life planet, Bloodtooth Planet. It was once the territory of a demon undying, and now it had become the meeting place for the upper echelons of the 6 great powers. On the beautiful grassland, 6 powerful consciousnesses condensed into incarnations. They were the demon race's demon ancestor Dream and demon ancestor Jin, the insect race's queen, the machine race's father god, the prison race's fiend ancestor, and the crystal race's sacred leader. These 6 strongest experts of the universe represented 5 of the 9 superpowers of the primeval universe. Why isn't the North Border Alliance here yet? Demon Ancestor's huge tail circled around him as his scarlet eyes scanned the area. Our consciousnesses have descended, so of course it's fast. The Northern Border Alliance has to rely on teleportation and teleportation. Please wait for a moment, Demon Forefather Jin said in a low voice. After all, the real decision-maker of the Northern Border Alliance is not the Northern Border Alliance leader, but the Masters of the Universe, the Crystal Race Holy Leader said slowly. Then, he turned his head and looked into the distance. They're coming. They all felt the fluctuations of teleportation. Clearly, an expert had teleported to this planet. Wung, 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 3 figures flew over from afar. It landed in an instant. The 5 clans are all here? Our Northern Border Alliance is a little late. The leader of the 3 figures had a body that seemed like flowing water. It was the Galaxy Master. As the most powerful person in the entire Northern Border Alliance, the Galaxy Master usually appeared in the Dark Void. However, since he was meeting the 6 strongest experts, he naturally revealed his true body. Galaxy Master, Black Lotus Master, Black Mist Star Master. The machinist godfather spoke. This is the first time I've seen you all appear together. This matter involves a lot of things. How could the three of us not appear? Said the Black Lotus Master, whose body was surrounded by rings of lotus leaves and had a head that looked like a plant's stamen. These three were not ordinary. The Northern Border Alliance was a super alliance. There were many idol clans gathered there, and there were about 100 masters of the universe. After all, an elite alliance like the Great Alliance had about 40 masters of the universe. One could imagine the number of masters of the universe in a super alliance like the Northern Border. Internally, there were also many factions. As for the Northern Border Alliance leader, he was just a figurehead. Both sides were just helping each other. On the other hand, the Galaxy Master, Black Lotus Master and Black Mist Star Master had true influence. The three of them were all at the pinnacle of level 5. The Black Lotus Master represented the 6 great plant life clans of the Northern Border Alliance. They formed their own super faction. The Black Mist Star Master was the spiritual leader of the Northern Border Alliance's number 1 clan, the Black Mist Clan. And even though the Galaxy Master was a special life form, he was known for his ability to reverse time and revive. He had saved countless universe lords from the various clans. His position in the Northern Border Alliance was similar to that of the Primal Chaos City leader in the human race. He handled many matters fairly and was supported by many smaller clans. He represented the special life forms and the smaller clans' alliance. The three of them were the 3 big factions of the Northern Border Alliance. If they agreed, it meant that 95% of the Northern Border Alliance agreed. This sort of idol alliance was just like that. Their unity was obviously not as strong as the humans, demon, prison clan, etc. Since everyone is here, let's begin. Demon Ancestor Zhen roared solemnly. Everyone knows that in the previous battle, our demon, bug and automaton alliance lost to the human alliance. That Luo Feng's spoils from the East River inheritance has greatly affected the human race. Willpower attack treasures, Black Prison Pagoda and many other treasures. Before this, the human race didn't even have them. Right before this, who had any willpower attack treasures? Never even heard of them. Like the black engraved stone pillars, they are all treasures that can't be moved. The human race's power is indeed much stronger. That East River inheritance, just how much did the human race gain from it? While they were discussing, these are all secondary. The automaton race's father suddenly spoke, causing the other 5 strongest warriors and 3 universe lords to look over. Inheritance, the most important thing is training experience and guidance. The automaton race's father said slowly. With training guidance, I believe the human race will produce even more of the strongest warriors in the universe. The holly-eyed race once had 7 of them. If the humans obtained the inheritance from the ancient civilization, I'm afraid there will be 10 or even more of them. Back in the first cycle, the holly-eyed race was incomparably tyrannical in the primeval universe, occupying large amounts of territory. As the human race grew stronger, they were destined to occupy even more territory. With more territory, the more life they would nurture, the more geniuses they would have, the more powerful warriors they would have, the more powerful warriors, the bigger the territory. This way, it would form a cycle, causing the human race's power to constantly expand. The automaton race's father emphasized, how strong will the humans become in the future? Everyone can imagine how strong the holly-eyed race was back then by 3 times. 3 times? In an instant, everyone was silent. Back then, the 7 strongest warriors of the holly-eyed race occupied an incomparably vast universe territory. If it was 3 times? 21 strongest warriors of the universe? 3 times their territory? Then even if the 5 pinnacle races' territories were all given to the humans, it still wouldn't be enough. The demon ancestor emitted an evil and crazy energy. This definitely cannot be allowed to happen. The primeval universe territory is only so big, there are only so many life forms. The expansion of the humans will naturally follow the weakening of the other races. The automaton race's father continued, "Previously, I didn't think that the humans were much of a threat. However, just after obtaining the inheritance, the humans actually defeated the three-race alliance. If they were given more time, I'm afraid that even if all the other forces in the primeval universe joined forces, they wouldn't be able to defeat the humans. At that time, the primeval universe would probably be dominated by the humans. It would be too late for us to regret." Right. If they can defeat the three-race alliance now, how terrifying will they be in the future? Even the Galaxy Master said, "This definitely cannot be allowed to happen." As the automaton race's godfather spoke, the six forces quickly united. Territory was the foundation of their races. If the humans expanded, their territory would shrink and they would decline. This was a natural thing. "The six of us." A gentle voice sounded, the Zerg Queen said slowly, "It's easy to unite because we all occupy extremely important and vast territories in the primeval universe. However, it's different for the other forces. For example, the Ancestor God sect is a gathering of many unique life forms. Their only territory is the Ancestor God mystic realm. They have no conflict with the humans' territories. The Astral Beast Alliance is even more detached. When the weak astral beasts are born, they wander the universe. They don't need large territories. As for the solitary experts, they don't need territories either." Yes. Right, the struggle for territories makes it easy for us to unite. However, the solitary experts, the Astral Beast Alliance, and the Ancestor God sect don't care too much. They value the inheritance that transcends reincarnation more. If the humans try to rope them in, they might go over to their side. That way, even the six of us cannot unite. Therefore, we must unite all the forces that can be united. We must rope in all the solitary experts, the Ancestor God sect, and the Astral Beast Alliance. I don't believe that the humans will tell them the secret of transcending reincarnation. Even if they do, it might not be true. Furthermore, the strongest force in the primeval universe isn't any of the 9 forces, nor is it the solitary experts. Instead, it's the countless stragglers scattered across the primeval universe. Those stragglers number in the billions. Among them, there might be 1 or 2 lords of the universe, but there are probably hundreds of lords of the universe. However, because they are too scattered, they can only unite to form small forces. What we need to do is to rope them in. The threat of the ancient god I wasn't small. However, a trump card could only produce the greatest effect when it wasn't exposed. Now that it was exposed, there were many ways to deal with it to minimize the threat of the ancient god I. Billions of races, each weak and inconspicuous. The strongest ones are only 1 or 2 lords of the universe. However, all of them added up, their territories are very large. In the future, when the humans expand, they will probably destroy them and occupy their territories. Based on this, we can rope in many of the stragglers. The 6 forces discussed among themselves. Think of all ways to increase their own forces and weaken the other party's forces. If you like this work, please come to Chidien.com to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 13:18. In the distance, the blazing light from the twin stars shone through the clouds and onto the land, causing the clouds to appear a beautiful orange-red. On the land, there were many green-skinned elegant Yen race lifeforms. The elegant Yen race was a flesh and blood lifeform. They had 4-hooved beast-like lower bodies and human-like upper bodies, but they had 4 arms. They were naturally peace-loving, but once they were angered, they would become extremely crazy warriors. Peace, peace, happiness. This was the main theme of the planet where the elegant Yen race lived. In front of an elegant wooden building, a woman from the elegant Yen clan was kneeling on all fours, looking around leisurely. Boom! A beam of light suddenly descended from the sky and landed directly in front of the elegant Yen race woman. It condensed into a burly figure. His body seemed to be made of metal, and he wore a layer of purple armor. He looked coldly at the elegant Yen race woman, who was kneeling and resting, and said, "Elegant Yen race master." The elegant Yen race woman smiled. "Machine races Heng Xian, my friend. Why are you here? It's rare. This matter concerns the fate of the elegant Yen race. It concerns the rise and fall of the elegant Yen race. You and I went through life and death together in the cosmic sea. How could I not tell you?" Master Heng Xian sat down. "The fate of my race?" The elegant Yen race woman looked at Master Heng Xian. Master Heng Xian said, "You should know about the battle between the machine race and the insect race and the demon race," Master Heng Xian said. The elegant Yen race woman smiled and said, "Of course I know about this. This news has spread throughout the entire primeval universe. I'm afraid there are very few masters of the universe who don't know about it. The allied forces of the three races fought with the human camp, but in the end the allied forces of the three races were defeated. This is really shocking and unbelievable. Come, have a taste of my race's jade fruit wine." He waved his hand. A wine cup floated in front of the two of them. The wine cup was very tall and deep, and the wine was a light green color, emitting bursts of fragrance. On the ground beside them, there was a dark gray wine pot with a beautiful design. Master Heng Xian raised his wine cup and said solemnly, "The humans have just obtained the inheritance of the ancient civilization, and they are already so powerful. If they are given a certain amount of time, they will definitely be more terrifying than the holy-eyed race in the first cycle. If they could defeat the allied forces of the three races now, what about in the future? Even if all the major powers in the primeval universe joined forces, they would not be a match for the humans. Once the humans became that strong, how could they not wildly expand? As you know, humans are an extremely aggressive race." The elegant Yen clan woman paused for a moment. "Yes, aggression. In fact, the insect race, the demon race, the machine race, the human race, the prison race, and the crystal race were all extremely aggressive and aggressive. The law of reproduction meant that a powerful race was bound to invade more territories. In the primeval universe, who occupied the most domains?" The Lord of the Balanced String continued, "It's not us peak races, but you trillions of idle races. Each one of you is weak, and each one of you occupies a small territory. But when all of you are added together, it is an extremely vast territory. If humans were truly powerful and invincible, would they let you off? This war is not only a battle for the inheritance of the ancient civilization, but also a battle for the survival of our many races. The humans have the primal universe. No matter what, we can't destroy the humans." The elegant Yen race woman stared at Lord Heng Xian. "They can't be destroyed. With the strongest in the universe, they are destined not to be destroyed. However, even if they can't be destroyed, they can still be suppressed." The Lord of the Balanced String said, "We can capture their universe, Lord. Even if we can't, we can occupy their territories and force them to retreat into the primal universe. Hiding in a small universe and being suppressed by the major powers of the primeval universe. The major powers of the universe C will be jealous and will threaten the humans to hand over the inheritance. Since that's the case, the humans will find it hard to advance. They won't dare to let the weak go out to train themselves, because that isn't life or death training, it's certain death. The moment a human appears in the primeval universe, or in the universe C, they will be surrounded and captured. This will become a bargaining chip between the major powers and the humans. If that's the case, not a single human will be able to truly rise up. Only Luofeng, the primal Chaos City leader, and a few others will be able to escape and survive. However, with just the few of them, even if they have a few more strongest warriors, what will they amount to against the major powers? Trapped in one place, unable to reproduce enough race members and geniuses, their potential will be limited, they will no longer be a threat. The Balanced String Lord stared at the elegant Flame Lord. Hence, to our many races with territories, we have to fight with the humans. We either force them to hand over the inheritance or suppress them, preventing them from developing. To the strongest warriors of the lone warriors, no matter how strong the humans get in the future, they won't be afraid. However, the chance to force the humans to hand over the inheritance will be gone. Hence, to escape the cycle of reincarnation, they have to grab hold of this chance. Overall, whether it's the strongest warriors of the lone warriors or our many races with territories, they will all surround and attack the humans. Our automaton race, Bug Clan, Demon Clan, Prison Clan, Crystal Clan, North Border Alliance, and many other random powers have all joined. I believe you just have to search and you'll know. The Balanced String Lord emphasized, if you don't join, you'll be ostracized. Those who join this time will naturally form huge benefits. You should know what to do. The Elegant Flame Lord creased his eyebrows. The humans have also sent messengers to talk to me. Human messengers? The Balanced String Lord was shocked. So fast. They said that as long as you don't get involved, they'll promise never to invade, the Elegant Flame Lord said. Actually, there was something else she didn't say. If they joined the human camp, the humans would tell the Master of the Universe how to become the strongest in the universe, including the cultivation experience of the ancient civilization. You believe that? The Balanced String Lord sneered. This war will sweep the entire universe. You and I are friends, so I'll tell you directly. If you don't join either side when the war ends, your future will probably be very tragic. And without a doubt, the alliance of the major powers will definitely win. The Balanced String Lord held the jade fruit wine. Whether you join the winning side or the losing side, it all depends on you, Elegant Flame Lord. Following which, he raised his head and drank the jade fruit wine. Gurgle, the jade fruit wine is indeed worthy of being the famous wine of the Elegant Flame race. The Balanced String Lord lowered his head and looked at the wine cup. But if I make the wrong choice this time, I'm afraid I won't be able to drink this wine in the future. Boom. The Balanced String Lord turned into a stream of light and disappeared into the clouds high in the sky. Master Yi was an extremely influential lord of the universe in the second-tier power, the Tri-Mountain Alliance. That was why she had sent Master Hing Xian to persuade her. If he could convince the Elegant Flame Sect Master, then he could influence the entire Tri-Mountain Alliance. The possibility of the Allied forces winning this battle is indeed very, very high. However, there are far, far too many factions joining the Allied forces. Even if I and the experts of the Three Mountains Alliance join, we'll only be the icing on the cake. How many benefits would we obtain? I'm afraid the benefits have been completely ignored. Yaya's master sighed. Even if they managed to obtain some inheritances from the humans with great difficulty, how could those peak clans and strongest beings give them all to small forces like them? If you join the human camp, you will definitely receive guidance. Only they were destined to be defeated. They had to hide in the primordial cosmos. At that time, the clans that stood in the human camp might be in trouble. When the time comes, we'll have to work together. If a large number of idle tribes in the human camp work together to deal with some attacks, it'll be very bad. The Masters of the Universe were no fools. They knew very well the pros and cons of joining either faction. The Allied forces were almost certain to win. Not only did he not get any benefits, he even had to risk his life. After all, quite a few universe lords had already perished. The human camp was almost certain to lose. But after the war, there would be trouble. How should they choose? How should they choose? While the Allied forces were trying to persuade the various idol tribes in the primordial universe, the strongest solitary experts, the Ancestor God Sect, and the Astral Beast Alliance, the human camp was also thinking of ways to rope them in. However, the human camp was more gentle and did not help either side. In return, the human camp promised to never invade their territories. This was to restrain the Allied forces' argument that the expansion of the human camp would invade their territories. The two camps were thinking of all sorts of ways. However, the experts of the countless idle tribes were involved. Their decisions would affect the fate of their entire tribe. How could they not be cautious? Therefore, be it the human camp or the allied forces, they did not gain much at the beginning. Clearly, the idle tribes were also starting to communicate in twos and threes. They were discussing how to deal with the problem of the two camps joining. There was even another voice saying that neither camp should join. In short, it was chaos. The two camps also used all kinds of methods, both overt and covert. For example, they used many benefits to bribe a master of the universe so that he would lead that faction. In short, all kinds of methods were used. They were desperately trying to rope in their forces. If they had 10 more universe lords, it would be 10 less for the other side. Going back and forth, it would be equivalent to 20 universe lords. Hence, how could they be lenient? In the boundless, desolate starfield, life was unable to thrive here. However, this vast, desolate starfield was Mountain Guest's territory. Teacher, teacher. Luo Feng immediately came to Mountain Guest's place to greet his teacher. Personally coming here? Right now your human camp is very busy. You are also an important person. Why would you personally come to my place? Looks like you have a favor to ask of me. Mountain Guest held a crystal in his hand. He walked out and walked down the stairs. You didn't ask me for anything. You just didn't come here once. Your disciple is ashamed. In the future, I'll definitely come here. Luo Feng sweated and said. Mountain Guest sat down leisurely. Let me guess. You came here to ask me to create another willpower attack treasure. Also, you probably killed a universe lord with your own hands. There's even an image to prove it, right? Luo Feng could only nod obediently. Teacher is powerful. In the future, whether you've killed a universe lord or not, there's no need for an image. Just tell me. I believe you won't lie. Mountain Guest nodded casually. Creating another one is simple. Just wait here for 3 days. Right, the old beast god from the Space Beast Alliance asked me to contact you. Since you're here, I'll let him know. He'll be here soon. You can meet him and have a chat. As for whether or not it goes through, you don't have to care about me. Take care of my face. I have no intention of getting involved in your so-called faction wars. Old beast god. Luo Feng was shocked. ****, to be continued. If you like this work, please come to Qidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 13:19. Mountain Guest had already left, concentrating on crafting the other ancient god eye. Old beast god. Luo Feng sat crossed-legged in a quiet hall, frowning and pondering. I didn't expect him to find me before I even did. The human race needed to rope in many powers. There were 3 types. One was the large amounts of universe lords that had nothing to do with it. Even though each seemed weak, when all of them were added together, they were the strongest and most important power. Another type was the Ancestral God Sect and the Space Beast Alliance. These powers had very low requirements for territory. The last type was the strongest of the lone wolves. Actually, the humans were willing to pay some price to rope in the universe lords who were not part of the universe, because these prices wouldn't affect humanity's future plans. However, with the strongest of the universe, the Ancestral God Sect and the Space Beast Alliance, it would be troublesome. Because what they wanted, humanity was clear, was a way to escape the reincarnation cycle. Firstly, humanity didn't have the confidence to escape the reincarnation cycle, because the higher-level information was all hidden by the origin laws. Secondly, if they couldn't obtain the method to escape the reincarnation cycle, the lone wolves and the other powers would probably ask for detailed information on how to reach the pinnacle of the strongest in the universe. And this, to the human race, would be their pinnacle strength in the future. After all, the pinnacle of the strongest in the universe was equivalent to the strength of the ancestors back then. For the other races, the lone wolves to produce a few of their ancestors' strength? Once they didn't have an advantage in terms of their pinnacle strength, How would humanity become the number one power of the universe? See? How would they truly be invincible? Even the human race has internal conflicts, unable to come to a consensus. Luo Feng thought, everyone is watching. If we can rope in enough universe lords from the many lone wolves, even if we lose a few of the strongest, it won't affect the overall situation. Humanity was waiting to see how many universe lords they could rope in. Seeing how many they could rope in, and how many they wouldn't help either side. As such, to judge the strength of both sides, if the human race thought they could defend against the Allied army, then they wouldn't have to pay such a high price to the Space Beast Alliance. After all, humanity didn't just have to look at the present, they had to look at the future. That day, 3 hours after Luo Feng arrived at his teacher's place, the old beast god arrived. Luo Feng. His voice resounded within the palace. Whoosh! Luo Feng immediately flew out. Very quickly, he saw the huge being floating in mid-air. It had a huge dragon head with 9 horns on it. The 9 horns formed a crown shape. Its huge body had huge claws on it, every claw had 9 claws. It's actually his true body. Luo Feng thought, this star sky primogenitor is obviously expressing his sincerity. Starry sky primogenitor. Luo Feng's voice resounded throughout the space. The star sky primogenitor, who was floating in the void, stretched his body slightly, but his head was still looking at Luo Feng. He said in a friendly tone, this is the second time we have met since we parted ways in the beast god realm. It's indeed been a long time. Luo Feng smiled. Back in the beast god world, you helped me. Luo Feng has always been grateful. Ha ha. The starry sky primogenitor laughed so loudly that it filled every inch of space around him. There's no need for thanks. Actually, being able to enter the beast god realm back then was mainly because the star sky primogenitor owed mountain passenger. You and I have some ties, then let's be direct. The star sky primogenitor said directly. The current situation, Luo Feng, you are very clear. The human and allied armies. The two opposing factions, right now the allied armies are constantly roping in the other powers. Just from what I know, there are many that have joined them. There are some that have joined us. Luo Feng smiled. Right. The star sky primogenitor said. However, the other races all know how big of a threat you humans are. Those random races too know. Don't even talk about your human race's promises. What's a promise? Who can guarantee that you won't break it in the future? The survival of the universe races has always been cruel and bloody. When you humans truly grow, who can guarantee that you won't keep your promises? Luo Feng sighed within. Yes. This was their greatest weakness. It's destined that in terms of roping in the other races, you humans won't be able to compete with the allied armies. The Star Sky primogenitor said, hence, you should join forces with the Star Beast Alliance, the Ancestral God Sect, and the strongest lone warriors. Ah! Luo Feng listened carefully. I've discussed with the 3 elder gods of the Ancestral God Sect. The Star Sky primogenitor looked at Luo Feng. Our Star Beast Alliance and the Ancestral God Sect will advance and retreat together. Luo Feng was shocked. These 2 great powers actually formed an alliance just like that. The moment they formed an alliance, their influence would naturally be greater. Negotiating with the humans or the allied armies, they would naturally have more confidence. Our conditions are very simple. The Star Sky primogenitor said slowly. 1. We need the Universe Lord to break through to become the strongest warrior in the universe. 2. We need to train to the point of transcending the reincarnation. Luo Feng, if your human race agrees, our Star Beast Alliance and the Ancestral God Sect will immediately join your human faction. Luo Feng's heart tightened. It's here. It was indeed a request. Actually, the different powers had different requests because of their own roles. For example, the smaller powers didn't even dare dream of transcending the reincarnation. They only wanted to produce the strongest warrior in the universe. That way, their race would at least be able to survive for 3 more reincarnations. Primogenitor. Luo Feng stared at the star sky primogenitor. Don't you know about the origin willpower? Primal universe origin willpower? The star sky primogenitor said slowly, Of course I know. Since you know, you should understand any information about transcending the reincarnation, or even higher levels of training experience etc., are all hidden by the origin willpower. Luo Feng looked at the distant star sky primogenitor in space. Hence even our human race doesn't know how to make it through the reincarnation. Star sky primogenitor said, I've discussed with the 3 elder gods, of course I understand. I'll get you humans to give me detailed guidance on how to transcend the reincarnation. You just need to give me enough. For example, reaching the limit of the strongest warrior in the universe. After that, naturally I'll have to work hard myself. Can you agree? Star Sky Primogenitor stared at Luo Feng. If you agree, the Star Beast Alliance and Ancestral God Sect will immediately join the human faction. It's not just our 2 powers. I'm guessing many of the strongest warriors have the same thought. You can use these conditions to rope them in. It's up to your human race, if you're willing or not. Only with sacrifice can there be gains. This is up to your human race to decide. Star Sky Primogenitor looked at Luo Feng. Luo Feng was silent. Choice? Actually, many of the strongest warriors, the Star Beast Alliance, Ancestral God Sect, they didn't care if the human race grew stronger or not, because they didn't care about their territories. As for whether there would be another power in the universe ocean, whether there would be another power stronger than the Sacred Land universe, they didn't care either. They only needed to obtain the inheritance that allowed one to train to the limit. As for the method, as long as it was the inheritance, it didn't matter what method it was. Joining the human faction, joining the allied army, it was all fine. It all depended on which one worked. Star Sky Primogenitor looked at Luo Feng. After a while, Primogenitor, Luo Feng finally spoke. How is it? Star Sky Primogenitor was a little nervous too, because this involved his fate, involved the fate of the Star Beast Alliance. Luo Feng emphasized, I've thought about it for a while, however, this isn't something I can decide alone. I need to return to discuss with my teacher Primal Chaos City leader and the others. If in the end we humans agree, I'll personally inform you. If not, I'll inform you through Teacher Mountain Passenger. Alright. Star Sky Primogenitor roared. Then I and the Ancestral God Sect will wait for your reply. Rumble. Star Sky Primogenitor immediately vanished. Luo Feng stood silently for a while. That day, even though Luo Feng's body was with Teacher Mountain Passenger, he used the virtual universe to contact the Primal Chaos City leader. Luo Feng, didn't you ask Mountain Passenger to help you craft a treasure? He should still be there. Why did you suddenly come to find me? The Primal Chaos City leader realized too, Luo Feng probably had something important to discuss. The 2 sat down. It's like this, the Star Beast Alliance's old beast god met with me and raised his conditions. Luo Feng emphasized. Old beast god. The Primal Chaos City leader was shocked, asking, What conditions? Just as we guessed back then. Luo Feng exclaimed, One is for the Universe Lord to train to the strongest in the universe, the ancient inheritance. The second is to train to the limit of the strongest in the universe. The Primal Chaos City leader frowned. The limit of the strongest in the universe? That was the strength of the ancestor back then. And he also said that his Star Beast Alliance and the Ancestral God Sect will advance and retreat together. Luo Feng emphasized, I think they've formed an alliance. Ancestral God Sect? The Primal Chaos City leader frowned. The Ancestral God Sect shouldn't be that anxious. Their demands shouldn't be as high as the Star Beast Alliance. Luo Feng was curious. After rising step by step, roaming the universe there's some general information you don't know. The primal Chaos City leader smiled. The three ancestral gods of the ancestral god sect are actually universe lords, they aren't the strongest in the universe. Luo Feng was shocked. Three ancestral gods, universe lords? This is a secret, however it can only be considered an upper echelon secret. The primal Chaos City leader shook his head. Firstly, the moment the ancestral god sect was established, there were already three ancestral gods. Don't tell me the strongest in the universe is so easily born, and there are three of them at once? And they all joined the ancestral god sect? Secondly, the three ancestral gods have never entered the Universe Sea before. Thirdly, the problems encountered in the Universe Sea were all solved by the 9 Underworlds Lord and other Universe Lord. If you like this work, please come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1320. Luo Feng creased his eyebrows. But the ancestor gods can do it. Using the pinnacle treasures, they can unleash pinnacle level 6 strength. Haha. The primal Chaos City leader laughed. What's that? That's a special privilege given by the universe origin laws. The universe origin laws give the strongest special privileges. However, the moment they battle the universe lord, the universe origin laws will strip them of their special privileges. If the universe origin laws are intentionally biased, they can totally give the ancestor gods the special privileges. Luo Feng blinked. The special privilege of enforcing the law is granted on purpose. As for using the pinnacle treasures, they can unleash pinnacle level 6 strength. However, they only understand the techniques of the strongest in the universe. The primal Chaos City leader said, like you rely on your own comprehension. Like Peng Gong, he relies on the engravings on the treasures. And the three ancestor gods, they have their own techniques directly bestowed by the primal universe origin laws. Similar to natural abilities. Natural abilities. Luo Feng understood. Just like his own I am the universe. It was just that the three ancestor gods' gifts were even higher. They were directly the strongest techniques of the universe. Do you understand now? The primal Chaos City leader exclaimed. The ancestor god sect was created by the primal universe origin laws, and it had long chosen 3 strong warriors to be its representatives, giving them special privileges, giving them natural abilities. However, these 3 ancestor gods too have many responsibilities and many restrictions. Luo Feng nodded. Right. If there really was one strongest in the universe, why wouldn't he solve the problems in the cosmic sea himself? If there really was one strongest in the universe, why would the demon god from back then be so confident in saying that in the cosmic sea, the ancestor gods weren't his match? Because the ancestor gods were the pseudo-strongest in the universe. Their freedom is limited. Only when this reincarnation era ends, will they regain their freedom. The primal Chaos City leader smiled. Hence to them, the most important thing is actually how to break through to become the strongest in the universe. However, what the star ancestor said makes sense. Greed has no limit. Those 3 ancestor gods, the 8 great beast gods, the many guardian beast gods, the 9 underworld lord and many other guardian god lords, the universe lords of the ancestor god sect yearn to become the strongest in the universe and also yearn to transcend reincarnation. However, there is no eternal alliance in this world. The Ancestor God sect and the Galactic Beast Alliance will not advance or retreat together. The Primal Chaos City Master said, I will contact the Ancestor God sect and persuade them personally. The highest price paid is the cultivation guidance on how to break through to become the strongest in the universe. Luo Feng nodded. Then what about the Space Beast Alliance? What about the strongest solitary practitioners? Wait. The Primal Chaos City Lord said solemnly, right now, many of the independent tribes and small factions are still hesitating. We need to do our best to rope in more Lords of the Universe. 100 Lords of the Universe is equivalent to 10 of the strongest solitary experts. Since that's the case, our focus should still be on the independent tribes. If we can rope in a certain number of experts, we naturally wouldn't need to care about those solitary experts. After all, to a powerful force, the number of pillars and peak experts are both important. From the immortal to the strongest in the universe, this was the ancient civilization's systematic cultivation method. It represented the nurturing of pillars of combat power, such as the lords of the universe and even the strongest experts. As for the peak battle prowess, it referred to the battle prowess of the progenitor. Right now in the entire universe C, there hasn't been a second progenitor-level warrior. The primal Chaos City Lord emphasized, if in the future our human race produces one or two, along with the number of pillars, then our human race will truly be invincible. Luo Feng nodded. Desire. Everyone desired for their own race to be strong. No one was willing to share their race's hopes with the other powers. Those powers were strong, like the strongest solitary warriors. Once a solitary warrior reached the level of the progenitor, naturally they would be extremely confident. Roaming the universe C, plus they had no ties, why would they care about humanity? In the future, they would definitely have conflicts with humanity. The moment they fought, even if humanity was strong, the other party had no ties, plus they were at the progenitor level. When that time came, they would be shooting themselves in the foot. Wait until the situation becomes clearer. The primal Chaos City Lord's voice was filled with anticipation. 3 days later, Luo Feng retrieved the other treasure from Mountain Guest, the ancient god Eye, and immediately returned to the human domain. Even after returning, Luo Feng personally took on the role of an emissary, going out to convince a few of the smaller factions. You've seen too, those that have joined our human camp. Till now, not a single universe lord has fallen. Maybe our race's chances of victory aren't that high. I won't brag like the Allied army. Their chances of victory aren't as high as they brag, but I can guarantee that our race has the Grave Boat, Black Prison Pagoda, and Star Pagoda. They are all absolutely safe. If we fight alongside the human camp, we can guarantee our safety. As for you worrying about being attacked after the battle, no need to worry. Our human camp, with so many universe lords that have joined us, naturally will be united. If any race dares to retaliate after the battle, then our human camp's allied army will immediately ride the Star Pagoda and the Tomb Boat and kill their way over. Immediately wipe out their entire race. With this as a threat, I don't believe anyone would dare to mess with us. Luo Feng said confidently, persuading a huge rock head that appeared from the endless ground. Join our allied army, we'll definitely win. You've seen too, our allied army, right from the start, has 6 great powers working together. With our demon race, automaton race, bug race, prison race, crystal race and the North Border Alliance as the core, the alliance is extremely sturdy. And just these 6 powers, along with their subordinates, the number of universe lords will reach about 300. And with the random powers joining us, the number of universe lords in our allied army will continue to explode, and our strongest warriors and ultimate treasures will have a huge advantage. What? Willpower attack treasures? Haha, that's a joke. I admit that the willpower attack treasures are powerful, however look at how many universe lords we have in our allied army. Not to mention the unaffiliated forces that had come to seek refuge. Just the alliance of the 6 major forces already had around 300 people. These 300 every 50 universe lords will be split into 6 teams. When that time comes, no matter how powerful the willpower attack treasures are, they can at most attack one team. After all, the willpower attack treasures have a very high requirement on distance. The further the distance, the weaker the willpower attack. This you all know about the black engraved stone pillar and the many willpower attack treasures have in common. Therefore, as long as the universe pillar teams are slightly apart, for example, 10 million kilometers, they can at most attack one team of universe lord. This way, the willpower attack treasures will have little effect on the strength of both sides. And if the Universe Lord teams continue to split, for example, 30 Universe Lords forming a small team, the impact will be even smaller. In short, our side already has the absolute advantage, and it's destined that the battle with the human camp will not be short, but long. If it doesn't hand over the inheritance, then we will suppress the humans for a long time. Suppress the human camp. Make it impossible for the humans to develop, and those who have joined the human camp will regret it and even leave the human camp. Both sides were desperately trying to rope in the humans. The humans were already at a disadvantage, while the Sixth Allied Army was stronger. After all, the North Border Alliance had about 100 Universe Lords. Time passed day by day. Everyone in the primeval universe was paying attention to the changes. Even the various forces in the cosmic sea were paying attention. Hey, I hate that we can only stay in the cosmic sea. If only we could enter the primeval universe. If we can enter the primeval universe, we can force the humans and have a chance to transcend reincarnation. Hate that we can't even participate. The various forces in the cosmic sea were anxious and helpless. The first and second reincarnation eras, which of them didn't far surpass the primeval universe era? They could casually pull out a few pinnacle races, and they would be able to sweep through the many powers in the primeval universe. It was a pity that even though they had the strength, they couldn't enter the primeval universe. Luo Feng stood before the railing, holding a communication tag in his hand. Milky Way Lord, the memory stone you gave me before was indeed useless to me. If you give me another memory stone, if this memory stone is useful, then I will give you the other 8 supreme treasures in exchange for the third memory stone. How about that? If you have the confidence, if you aren't lying to me, you should be willing to give me the second one. East Emperor Ancestor? If you want the second one, you'd better give me the other 4 treasures to exchange for it. This was the conversation from before. Luo Feng was still unyielding. Obviously the East Emperor's sacred land knew about what happened in the primeval universe. After the exchange with the memory stone, they suffered a loss. However, the East Emperor Ancestor thought that Luo Feng didn't mean it, because Luo Feng couldn't see the deeper information. Hence he wanted the second one, but the East Emperor Ancestor wasn't willing to give any more treasures. He was clear that the human faction was in a difficult situation, hence he wasn't in a rush to negotiate before, but now he was negotiating with Luo Feng. My conditions are still the same. East Emperor Ancestor, if you can't bear to, then I'm sorry. Luo Feng was very direct. It wasn't that he wasn't willing. It was just that he was clear that of the 3 memory stones he prepared, the first one was already the best one. Even though he couldn't see it, he was still clear about the rarity and classification of the memory stones. If the best one was useless, the other 2 would naturally be even worse. Hence Luo Feng could only bite his tongue and not give in. Who knows, the East Emperor Ancestor might really agree to the trade after much consideration. Because the only seller was Luo Feng. If he wanted to buy or not, no matter how intelligent the East Emperor Ancestor was, he wouldn't be able to use it. Time passed day by day, the terrifying battle was getting closer and closer, the entire primeval universe was in a terrifying pressure before the battle. Even the large powers of the universe sea were watching, they too wanted to participate. It was a pity they couldn't participate at all. Luo Feng, come quickly. Luo Feng suddenly heard the anxious voice of the primal chaos city leader. HM? Luo Feng felt something was amiss. So, with a teleportation, he immediately arrived in the main palace where the primal chaos city leader was, and within the main palace, Darkness Lord, Luo Feng, Peng Worker Leader, Dragon Travel Leader, Ice Peak Leader, Desolate Mirror Leader, Green East Leader, all of them teleported. Today will be the 5th chapter. This is the first chapter. Requesting for recommendation votes and encouragement, I'll use all my money to welcome the 5th chapter. To be continued. If you like this work, please come to Chidien.com to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 13:21. Luo Feng teleported and appeared within the palace, looking at the silhouettes that appeared around him. In an instant, including the primal Chaos City leader, there were a total of 19 Universe Lords. The human Universe Lords were all here, not a single one less. This shocked Luo Feng. That was because there were several Universe Lords residing in the primal universe. However, now, these God energy clones had arrived too. Just what has happened? Teacher actually gathered all the Universe Lords of humanity. Luo Feng felt the pressure. Even before the Three-Race Alliance, there had never been a gathering of all the Universe Lords. In an instant, within the palace, everyone's expressions were serious. Silence. Not a single Universe Lord spoke. The formless pressure made all the Universe Lords feel heavy. They all looked at the Primal Chaos City leader. Everyone. The Primal Chaos City leader walked down the stairs and looked around at the Universe Lords, saying slowly, "The situation has changed greatly." What change? Dragon leader couldn't help but ask. Primal Chaos, what's happening? Just what's happening? Teacher. One after another spoke. Luo Feng asked. Obviously this scene made all the Universe Lords very worried. The Primal Chaos City leader emphasized, "I've just received news, large amounts of the rogue races." Luo Feng and the others all felt their hearts skip a beat. The rogue Universe Lords were the crux of this final war. Between the Human Alliance and the Alliance, whoever could gain more would have a greater advantage. Looking at the situation now, could it be that many of the rogue races had joined the Alliance? A total of 282 strong races, close to 10,000 normal races, a sea of weak races. The Primal Chaos City leader emphasized, secretly, they should have formed an alliance. What? Alliance? Rogue races forming an alliance? Immediately there was an uproar. Luo Feng and the others were shocked. Of the billions of independent tribes, the so-called ordinary tribes and weak tribes were all very weak. Just like the Golden Horn tribe living in the human domain, these tribes did not even have a single lord of the universe. Hence in the universe, where life was precarious, most relied on the strong races, or even the pinnacle races. Hence, even though it was said to be trillions of races, it was actually the alliance of 282 strong races. How did this happen? How did this happen? Idle tribes, such idle tribes can actually form an alliance? They actually join forces? For a time, the hall was in chaos. Everyone was shocked and confused. This news was too shocking. There were a total of 9 superpowers in the primeval universe. Each superpower, like the Hong Alliance and the Insectoid Alliance, had about 40 Universe Lords. The Northern Border Alliance had the most masters of the universe, but only about 100 of them, and they were rather loose. Therefore, the primeval universe was still relatively peaceful. It was too difficult for the countless independent races to unite. Their territories were spread across the primeval universe, and some of them had great enmity with each other. Alliance? The human camp and the allied army had never thought about it before. After all, to unite countless independent clans in such a short period of time, this was simply too difficult. 282 powerful races. How many Universe Lords are there? The Icepeak Lord couldn't help but ask. How did he do it? Luo Feng couldn't believe it. Forming an alliance. It wasn't something that could be settled with just a few words. There were so many races involved, so many grudges and interests. Who had a higher position, who had a lower position, and who was the leader? The primeval city leader emphasized, since it has happened, it will be made public soon. Back then, the independent races didn't receive enough pressure. Now that they are being influenced by the two factions, forcing them to choose sides, naturally there will be some Universe Lords who don't want to help either side. However, they are afraid of being alone. Hence, they began to rope in some Universe Lords and form their own factions. Even though there were signs before, I didn't think much of it. Who would have thought that in a blink of an eye, the entire alliance would be formed? Also, the leader of this alliance is the Origin Island leader. The moment he said that, everyone in the hall was stunned. Origin Island leader? One of the strongest lone warriors, and the mysterious Origin Island leader? Amongst the strongest lone warriors, the Origin Island leader, Mountain Guest and the Northern Border Alliance leader, these three were the most mysterious. Such a mysterious punk. He actually became the leader of such a super alliance? This super alliance has 6 second-tier powers, and even more smaller powers. A total of 282 powerful races, with over 400 universe lords. The primeval city leader emphasized, also, both the human and allied factions have some universe lords who have left and joined the Super Alliance. Left? Luo Feng and the rest's expressions were ugly. Primeval chaos. Has our human faction's universe lords decreased? The desolate Mirror Lord asked. The primeval chaos lord nodded. You should know too, the subordinate races that come to join are after all just subordinates. During battles, we can hold some universe lords as hostages in the primal universe. However, after the war with the 3 races ended, naturally there's no reason to not allow them to return to the primal universe. Before, they were faced with 2 difficult choices, finally gritting their teeth and choosing to join us. However, when this alliance was secretly forming connections, they naturally contacted us and the universe lords that joined the allied factions. With just a little bit of roping in, some universe lords left. Before this, the total number of universe lords in the human faction had already risen to over 180. However now, including me, there are only 162, and there are still universe lords coming to bid their farewells. The primeval Chaos City leader sighed. If they want to leave, do you think the human faction can stop them? Deathly silence. Luo Feng and the rest all felt pressured. Back then, when those random races came to join, they only did so because the humans gave them promises. However, they couldn't just sell themselves to the humans forever. Those random races had already fought for the humans once, yet they didn't ask for any benefits before leaving. Even if they weren't allowed to leave, they could still fly out of the primal universe into the cosmic sea. Unless the humans wanted to kill them? If the humans really dared to do so, it would definitely cause a huge commotion. The palace was silent. The 19 universe lords, none of them spoke, they didn't know what to say. Finally, it was the primeval Chaos City leader who spoke. During these few days, many of the large powers in the cosmic sea have contacted our race. The primeval Chaos City leader said, they're asking for ancient civilization training guides that have surpassed the reincarnation cycle. Amongst them, many of them know of the effects of the primal universe laws, hence they all want to train to the pinnacle of the strongest in the universe. They're willing to use their ultimate treasures to exchange. The large powers in the cosmic sea were all very powerful. Like the God-eyed race, bone race and many other races, they all had many of the strongest in the universe. They were very willing to use their ultimate treasures to exchange for the experience of reaching the pinnacle of the strongest in the universe. After all, facing the end of their lifespans, why wouldn't they? Damned cosmic sea powers, they're using this crucial time to negotiate with our race. The Void Gold Lord said coldly, they know we're in a difficult situation. It's precisely because we're in a difficult situation that they're tempting us. The Darkness Lord said solemnly. Not just them. Luo Feng said, just before, the East Emperor's Sacred Land contacted me again. East Emperor's Sacred Land? Immediately they all looked at Luo Feng. Humans weren't willing to trade with other powers because giving part of their inheritance to other powers was to create a strong opponent for themselves in the future. However, giving it to the East Emperor's Sacred Land was different. Because the East Emperor's Sacred Land already had beings that had surpassed the reincarnation cycle, they'd long had the experience of reaching the pinnacle of the strongest in the universe. If the humans gave them a simplified portion of the experience, it would just be icing on the cake. It wouldn't affect the human race at all. The East Emperor ancestor is very cunning and greedy. Luo Feng sighed and shook his head. It'll be very hard to get any more absolute treasures from him. It's all because he's looking at our current predicament. The Yu-Ho Lord gritted his teeth. The various powers of the cosmic sea were actually very jealous. It was just that they had no way of interfering, hence they could only wait for the right time. When humanity was in a difficult situation, they would take out the absolute treasures to tempt them. After all, to the various powers of the cosmic sea, they could only work with the humans. The Allied army didn't have anything they wanted at all. As for lending the absolute treasures to the Allied army, they were afraid if they lent it, they wouldn't return it. We'll wait. The Primal Chaos City Lord said slowly, we can only wait. We'll wait for the reaction of the super alliance formed by the idle races. Before, the idle races didn't have the confidence to request anything from us. However now, there's a total of 400 Universe Lords, even more than the Allied army. This is a power that can truly influence the final battle. It can be said that whichever side they join, that side will win. They're confident now. This is especially true for that Genesis Island Master. He has quietly become the Alliance Chief of this Super Alliance. This mysterious Origin Island Lord, for him to be able to do this, how could he not have any requests? He definitely has a goal. Hence, this Super Alliance will make a move very soon. The Primal Chaos City Lord emphasized. Luo Feng and the others nodded, their hearts heavy. Actually, everyone had guessed that with enough confidence, the conditions would be high. Were the humans really going to give? However, if they didn't, if these 400 Universe Lords joined the Allied army, it would be a disaster for humanity. Demon Territory, Blood-Tooth Planet. Waves of will descended. The Northern Border Alliance was an incarnation of the Master of the Black Lotus. Damn. These weak little powers, the second-tier powers, have actually allied together. To form such a super alliance, even the Universe Lords who joined our allied army have left. We can't stop them, we can't persuade them. Origin, this punk, we knew his methods were extraordinary, we actually created this super alliance for him. Such a super alliance, to make it extraordinary. I guess, the moment Huge Axe fell, he probably realized the situation and secretly began to plan for this. Right now, the initiative is in the hands of this super alliance. We'll just wait. Wait for this super alliance, just what are they planning to do? The Allied army and the human army were similarly caught unprepared. Half a month later, the Super Alliance was formed, officially announcing the news to the entire primal universe. This Super Alliance was named the Freedom Alliance. The moment it was formed, it immediately became the #1 power in the primal universe. The second chapter has ended. Tomato continued writing the third chapter. To be continued. If you like this work, please come to Chidien.com to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1322. The Bug Race, the Demon Race, the Automaton Race. The 6 great factions had temporarily formed an allied army. However, this was a very loose union. In essence, they were still divided into 6 factions. But the Freedom Alliance was different. This newly formed Super Alliance was extremely stable. It was a Super Alliance that had been prepared to exist forever. It was similar to the Northern Frontier Alliance, but it was much larger than the Northern Frontier Alliance. Precisely because it was going to exist forever, the degree of unity was naturally much higher. Whoosh, 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 golden waves surged in the starry sky, engulfing the surroundings long ago. Some stars and planets were like grains of sand within the waves, and they weren't harmed at all. Amidst these endless golden waves, there was an island. On the island, there were numerous thrones scattered in a ring shape. Each throne was occupied by a strange beast or an expert who could stand. They were divided into flesh and blood, energy, metal, stone, plant, and many other types of life. Each of them exuded a powerful aura. Everyone. On a deep purple throne sat a majestic purple figure. His voice reverberated in every inch of the surrounding spacetime. From this day forth, the Freedom Alliance officially stands tall in the primeval universe. The Freedom Alliance is for survival, for freedom. Everyone here is from an unaffiliated race. The strongest race only has 6 universe lords. The vast majority of races only have 1 universe lord. Individually, each of us is weak against the 2 great factions. If we join the Allied army, we will face the danger of dying. However, even if there are benefits after the battle, it will be difficult for us to split them. And if we join the human faction, we will face retaliation from the Allied army after the battle. We are also a race. We are also a part of the primeval universe. We don't even have the most basic freedom to not help either side. We don't even have the freedom to live in peace. Who is willing? The Genesis Island Lord looked around. Clearly, all the universe lords nodded slightly. Previously, they had all been in such a dilemma. Although I am the strongest expert in the primeval universe, however, in this battle between the 2 great factions, just one of the strongest experts in the primeval universe cannot change the overall situation. I am also unwilling, said the Genesis Island Lord. What is the point of fighting and fighting in the vast primeval universe? It is to obtain what we want. It is to protect what is most important to us. To pursue. For protection. And the prerequisite for all of this was freedom, the most basic freedom. If they didn't even have the freedom to make their own choices, how could they talk about protection? What pursuit? And so, the Freedom Alliance was born. Genesis Island Lord's eyes lit up. He was in high spirit. When the Freedom Alliance was established, those universe lords who couldn't make it all came with their avatars. Our Freedom Alliance has a total of 298 powerful races and 433 masters of the universe. Once we join forces, no matter if it's the Allied forces or the human camp, they won't be able to do anything to us. The humans have will-impacting treasures, and both factions have palace-type ultimate treasures. But what can we do? Once the willpower impact treasure is exposed, its weakness will be known. As for the supreme treasure of the palace? As long as 10 to 20 masters of the universe work together, they can easily resist the Black Prison Pagoda, Empress Palace, and Star Pagoda. Even the future, even if humans become powerful in the future, so what? The human race currently had less than 20 universe lords. Even if they had 100 in the future, even if the ancient civilization was heaven-defying and the humans had 300 universe lords, so what? Our Freedom Alliance has more than 400 universe lords, and as time passes, that number will only increase. No matter what, even if humans become powerful in the future, we will have the power to protect ourselves. As long as we work together, then it's destined that no one will be able to do anything to us, whether it's now or in the future. So, this war between the Allied forces and the human camp isn't a crisis. Instead, it's an opportunity for the Freedom Alliance, a powerful opportunity. The voice of the Genesis Island Lord rang out in the ears of every lord of the universe, drawing out their desires. They had desires too. And desires. Previously, they had been too weak to ask for much. But now they only needed to look at their surroundings, at the densely packed thrones, and at the 400 or so majestic figures of the lords of the universe, and they were filled with confidence. What kind of power was this? With such great power, he should obtain even more. As time passed, the lords of the universe, who had joined the humans, continued to break away. It was the same for the Allied forces. After half a month, finally, no universe lords left. At this point, the number of powerful races in the Freedom Alliance had risen to 298, and the number of universe lords had reached 433. This power shocked the Allied forces and the human camp. They felt endless pressure. Demon territory, blood-tooth planet. The wills of the 6 strongest experts of the universe, as well as the Galaxy Lord, the Black Lotus Lord, and the Green Mist Star Lord's clones, were all gathered here. With the alliance of our 6 forces, even if we include the Universe Lords who relied on us, during this period of time, many Universe Lords who relied on us have left. This has caused our allied forces to have less than 400 Universe Lords. Even with a few of the strongest experts of the universe, we can barely match the Freedom Alliance. And it's hard to determine the loyalty of our vassal races. Even if there's a war, some of them must stay within the small-scale universe. This is to prevent the Universe Lords from betraying us at a critical moment. So, the combat power we can unleash will instead be weaker than the Freedom Alliance. What do? Agree to their conditions. The upper echelons of the Allied forces exchanged glances. The Freedom Alliance had indeed come to state their conditions. The conditions were simple. 1. In the future, if they obtained the ancient civilization's inheritance from the human race, they would naturally share it. This was without a doubt. 2. Give the Freedom Alliance 2 ultimate treasures, and the Freedom Alliance would directly join the Allied forces. 2 ultimate treasures. This Freedom Alliance really dares to ask. This war with the human race isn't just for us. It will also benefit them in the future. To think they would ask for 2 ultimate treasures from us. Is there even a need to ask? With the same conditions, the Freedom Alliance would naturally be more willing to join the human race. Because once they join the human race will definitely win. Plus, the human race can give them the ancient civilization's inheritance experience. So, of course, they would be more willing to join the human race. Giving us such ridiculous conditions is just deliberate. Right? They should have given the humans their conditions and are waiting for their reply. Ultimate treasures. The Northern Frontier Alliance, the Prison Race, and the Crystal Race don't have any ultimate treasures. Only the Demon Race, the Insectoid Race, and the Automaton Race have ultimate treasures. There are only 4 in total. Give them 2? What a joke. Don't be anxious. The humans will give them an answer. If they refuse, then it will be much easier for us to negotiate with the Freedom Alliance. This condition can also be lowered. The Allied army was helpless. The human race was also in a bad state. We need to discuss this internally. Once there is a result, we will naturally reply. The Primal Chaos City Master said. Then the Freedom Alliance will wait for your reply. A silhouette that looked like a stream of water turned into a beam of light and flew out of the primal secret region. Moments later, within the main hall, the human race's universe masters gathered. The Freedom Alliance's emissary has already come. The Primal Chaos City Master said directly, the conditions are as high as we thought. From Universe Master to the strongest in the universe, as well as cultivating to the pinnacle of the strongest in the universe, the entire process of the ancient civilization's inheritance experience. We have to give them a portion first before they will join. After the war, we will give them another portion. This is the first situation. The second situation, we have to at least give them the ancient civilization's inheritance experience from Universe Master to the strongest in the universe. That is why they won't help either side. If not, they will join the Allied army. The moment the Primal Chaos City Master said this, the hall was filled with angry curses. These random races really dare to mention it. They really have the guts. How can they not have the guts? With so many Universe Lords, they naturally have the gut. Not helping either side, and even asking for the Universe Lord to the strongest in the universe to share the ancient civilization's training experience. In an instant, the human Universe Lords were all filled with rage. However, so what if they were angry? The initiative was with the Freedom Alliance. I'll push this matter aside for now. There's no rush to reply to them. The Primal Chaos City Master said, let's see if there's any chance. The humans indeed didn't wish to easily share their experiences. After all, no matter how simple the ancient civilization's experience was, they had to show a portion to the Freedom Alliance Universe Lords. Only when they felt that they had gained something would they come to help. To let them gain something was equivalent to helping them. The Freedom Alliance was already strong. The moment they received the experience, they would become even stronger. There's no rush. It's also the most crucial time. Our human race's final secret has to be told to you all. The Primal Chaos City Master looked around at the Universe Lord. Final secret? In an instant there was silence. Luo Feng and the others were all shocked. Primal Chaos, what other secrets does our human race have? Senior. Primal Chaos. All of them were at a loss. After all, these were the highest echelons of humanity. The Primal Chaos City Master looked at Luo Feng, Darkness Lord, Desolate Mirror Lord and the others, saying slowly, "Back then the Primal Ancestor roamed the Universe Sea, absolutely invincible." After which, he decided to walk a dangerous path. He knew this path was dangerous. Hence, he first waited for huge acts to break through and become the strongest warrior in the universe, following which, he left behind a protective technique for our human race. Only after that did he walk that path. Finally, he was forever suppressed by the primal universe laws. Luo Feng and the others' eyes gleamed. I've always been guarding the primal region. This is our human territory's final line of defense. Luo Feng, Darkness, Gong, you guys are battling with the other races. I'll be here. If I don't have any techniques, why would I be here? The Primal Chaos City Master said, "At this crucial time, I'll let you know the most important secret. Follow me." The Primal Chaos City Master turned. Luo Feng and the others exchanged glances. They couldn't help but feel a sense of glee as they followed the Primal Chaos City Master. The 3rd chapter has ended. Tomato will go write the 4th chapter. If you like this work, please come to Chidien.com to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1323. Luo Feng and the group of Universe Lords followed the Primal Chaos City leader out from the side door. As they walked along the walkway, they could see a huge ship behind the palaces in the distant Thousand Treasure River, the Tomb Boat. "Senior, where are we going?" Darkness Lord asked. Even he, as a junior, didn't know what the ancestor had left behind. "Let's board the Tomb Boat." The Primal Chaos City leader turned and said, "Even though this is the core of the primal region, there are many other Universe Lords here. To prevent information from leaking out, it's better to enter the Tomb Boat and let you all take a closer look." Luo Feng listened and could only suppress his curiosity. After a while, he entered the Thousand Treasure River, which was 100 billion kilometers long, floating on the Tomb Boat. The Tomb Boat is indeed a treasure. The Primal Chaos City leader entered through the cabin door and couldn't help but compliment, even though it has a weakness of not being able to attack, in terms of defense, especially when it's attacked by the universe's strongest, it can still easily withstand it. This point, even the absolute treasure's palaces can't compare to it. With it, our race's final universe passage will be safe and sound. Darkness Lord, Prung Worker Lord, Dragon Travel Lord and the others all nodded. Luo Feng laughed too. Right. The ancestor was eternally suppressed. The primal universe passage that connected the primal universe to the universe was destroyed. There was no way to build a new one. Even with the Star Pagoda and Black Prison Pagoda, if they were attacked, they would still be blasted away, unable to protect the passage. However, the Tomb Boat was much more stable. In the Cosmic Sea, the strongest experts of the universe who have reached the 7th and 8th grades can't do anything to the Tomb Boat even when they launch a collective attack. Much less in the primal universe. Luo Feng was very confident. The Tomb Boat reached 100 billion kilometers long. It directly protected the passage within a huge cabin. It was absolutely safe. In one of the halls of the grave ship, humanity and the group of Universe Lords were gathered here. Let's do it here. The Primal Chaos City leader smiled. Luo Feng and the group looked on expectantly. Since the ancestor left behind the protection of the race, he definitely put in all his effort. Naturally, it wasn't normal. Look carefully. The Primal Chaos City leader's gaze swept past every single Universe Lord, after which he extended his palm seriously. At that moment, everyone stared at the city leader's palm. Suddenly, an item appeared in the city leader's right palm. A treasure energy spread out. This is... Luo Feng stared wide-eyed. Master Peng was puzzled. What is this? The Master of Darkness was also puzzled. All of them looked puzzled. In the palm of the city leader's right hand, a sculpture-like object appeared. There was a fake mountain, a lake, and a wooden house. The mountain, the water, the house naturally made Luo Feng and the others feel extremely natural, but no matter how natural it was like a work of art. Although it gave off the aura of a cardinal treasure, this aura was very ordinary. It was probably just an ordinary cardinal treasure or a high-grade cardinal treasure. If it was as powerful as a supreme treasure, it would be fine if it was restrained. However, once it was released, its aura would be extremely oppressive. Teacher. Luo Feng couldn't help but look at the Primal Chaos City leader. Chaos, what is this? This is the clan protection treasure left behind by the ancestor? It can't be. This definitely isn't an absolute treasure, it's still a clan protection. They all looked curiously at the city leader. The Primal Chaos City leader smiled as he looked at Luo Feng and the others, saying, I'll use my god energy to activate it. You will know the power of this treasure. Following which, threads of god energy began to burn in his palm. The energy immediately poured into the treasure and immediately it floated and swiftly grew. After which, within the palace, a continuous 10,000 kilometers tall mountain range appeared. At the foot of the mountain was a 100 kilometers tall wooden house, and before it was a 1,000 kilometers wide lake. Come. The Primal Chaos City leader's body swiftly shrunk to 10 kilometers tall. Luo Feng and the others all shrunk and followed beside the city leader, walking along the lakeside and quickly arriving before the wooden house. Primal Chaos, what's the power of this treasure? Master Peng asked. I haven't activated the engravings yet, naturally I can't unleash its power. The Primal Chaos City leader stood by the lakeside, simultaneously a silhouette appeared beside him. It was the barefooted figure wielding the mottled and scarred stone rod. Clone. Luo Feng and the others were shocked. This treasure is slightly complicated. It requires both my body and this clone to work together and provide enough god energy to activate it. The Primal Chaos City leader explained. After which, the huge clone wielding the mottled and scarred stone rod walked with big steps towards the distant mountain range. As he touched the mountain range, he actually merged into it. The Primal Chaos City leader himself too walked into the lake, stepping on the surface and walking to the center. Wung. Suddenly, the distant mountain range began to ripple with an incredibly powerful energy. One could only see a barely discernible engraving flash in the surrounding space, following which a green color extended from the mountain range towards the sky, immediately covering the entire area above. It was as if a green sky had been formed. Rumble, the lake water trembled, the ground shook. Simultaneously, the barely discernible engraving flowed and disappeared. The endless land extended, forming a gray land. The green sky, gray land, the moment they touched, the first point of contact was that wooden house. The wooden house suddenly let out a glaring light. The light shone brightly. Endless light, enveloping every inch of the land and skies. Moreover, the azure sky and the gray earth were constantly intertwining with each other to produce power, converging and transforming into this boundless light. Under the shine of this light, Luo Feng, the Darkness Emperor and the Dragon Emperor all revealed looks of shock. Because just being shown on them made them feel a huge pressure. What powerful energy! Luo Feng and the others were shocked. This treasure was personally created by my teacher back then after spending countless amounts of blood and sweat. The primal Chaos City Master stood on the lake in the distance, reminiscing about the past. The mountain range, land, lake, wooden huts etc. are actually made up of 36,200 parts. Every part is made up of high-quality materials, but the secret techniques used to construct it are very simple. Only after combining them can it be systematized. Mountain range, lake, wooden huts, these three systems finally form this world. Back then, my teacher once said, "This is the origin of the universe." This treasure is called the universe in a palm. Just like this is the simplified, small-sized universe. The primal Chaos City leader said confidently, "As long as it's within the region my universe palm can control, I can instantly use the power of the universe palm to simultaneously unleash 2 pinnacle level 6 attacks. Also, its area of effect can reach a maximum of 1 light year." Luo Feng and the others were all dumbfounded. This was even more powerful than a domain-type treasure. Normal domain-type treasures, within their domain, they could indeed instantly control the domain to attack. However, in the hands of a universe lord, it couldn't possibly reach the pinnacle of level 6 power, because the domain-type treasure's main function was to suppress it. In the hands of the universe's strongest, they could use the domain-type treasure to unleash their own powerful techniques, only then would they be able to reach the pinnacle of level 6. However, even then, they could only unleash it once at a time. And the primal Chaos City leader could unleash it twice at once. It was as though 2 of the universe's strongest were attacking at the same time, and they could instantly appear anywhere within 1 light year. This is the simplified mini-universe. The moment it's within this area, it's like being in a mini-universe. The primal Chaos City leader said, "And I am its controller. With just a thought, I can attack my target. Even if the universe's strongest were to fall into my hands, I can make him feel extreme pain. He might not even be able to escape within a short period of time. It's just that this universe palm's strongest attack is only at the pinnacle of level 6. In the universe C, it's the same." The primal Chaos City leader said, "Hence, in the primal universe, it's even more advantageous. My teacher created it back then to protect the race. With it, even if 2 or 3 universes' strongest attacked, they would still be at a disadvantage. My teacher's ability to create treasures, even though he can at most create high-level treasures, using so many treasures to create this treasure, it's indeed far beyond my imagination." The Darkness Leader, Dragon Leader, Desolate Mirror Leader and the others were all stunned. Personally creating a treasure that was even more powerful than a domain-type treasure? Of course, in the Universe C, it wouldn't be as powerful as an absolute treasure. Automaton. Luo Feng was shocked within. This is the thought process of automaton. These large amounts of small parts, finally forming the 3 great systems, it's actually very similar to the Killer Wu Wings. The Killer Wu Wings were formed from large amounts of parts, separated into the white wings, 5 pairs of wings, and the source. And this universe palm is also formed from the combination of parts. The core of the transformation is that wooden house. In terms of complexity, this universe palm is even more complicated. Luo Feng was shocked. Of course, the universe in the palm belonged to a low-level mechanical treasure. Just the civilization level of the source far surpassed the universe in the palm. However, in terms of structure, the Killer Wu Wings system was actually very simple, while the universe palm was much more complicated. The primal Chaos City leader needed 2 great bodies to activate it. Of course, in terms of complexity, it couldn't even compare to the Tomb Boat or the Universe Boat. However, what was clear was, this was an automaton treasure, hence it looked ordinary, but in truth it was able to explode with such power, and its power was at the pinnacle of level 6. Even after entering the Universe C, it was still the same. One is the sky, one is the earth, one is the heart of the land. Pingong said slowly. Darkness, light, origin. The Master of Darkness said slowly. The various lords of the universe looked at this simplified universe. Luo Feng looked too. Even though it was automaton, the techniques within the universe palm were the workings of the universe, and it was much more profound than his own miniature universe. The gathering of time and space, the birth of a universe. Luo Feng looked at the land and skies, the endless green sky, gray land, and the gathering point of the wooden house emitting an endless glaring gold light. All of this seemed to contain the laws of the universe, the true workings of the origin laws. Luo Feng was completely immersed within. Ever since he had reached the pinnacle of the universe night, he had been unable to break through. However, at this time, inspiration flashed through his mind. Luo Feng looked up. Slowly, he revealed a smile. The 4th chapter has arrived. He continued writing the 5th chapter. To be continued. If you like this work, please come to Qidien.com to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 13:24. A floating mountain range, lake, wooden house. With it as the center, the vast space around it was all under its control. Just this mountain, lake, wooden house, its largest area of control could reach a diameter of 1 light year. This was such a vast area. Within this area, with a thought, one could unleash a pinnacle level 6 power. Powerful, it's simply too powerful. In the primal universe, it's even stronger than the absolute treasures. It's just that controlling it is slightly more complicated, requiring the 2 great primal chaos bodies to control it together. A simplified small universe? How did the ancestor do it? I don't understand at all. Indeed, the ancestor. To be able to create the virtual universe, his understanding of the universe's operations must have reached an extremely terrifying level. Hence, he was able to create this treasure, the universe in the palm. The universe lords were all shocked. This universe in the palm affected an area of time and space, completely isolating it from the outside world. They were all shocked and intoxicated by it. Luo Feng. Immediately someone realized something was wrong with Luo Feng. He was still smiling before, but after closing his eyes, he emitted a peculiar energy. Don't disturb Luo Feng, the Darkness Lord shouted. Within the human race, many didn't know that Luo Feng was only a universe knight. However, the Lord of Darkness knew about it. Don't tell me he's about to break through? The Darkness Lord thought. Not just him. Even the distant primal Chaos City leader who was standing on the lake noticed Luo Feng's special state. He couldn't help but feel anticipation within. Is my disciple about to break through? Luo Feng's techniques had already reached the universe's strongest level. His origin law comprehension had long reached the limit, and he had long comprehended the beast god heart. It could be said, he had met all the requirements, and his body was constantly training in the inheritance space. With 10,000 times time flow, he had trained for many years. Luo Feng's accumulations were simply too abundant. No matter how slow it was, he would definitely break through after a few decades in the outside world. If he was fast, he could break through at any time. This breakthrough could happen when he was excited or touched or watching the space revolve, or during a life or death battle anyways. He might have a flash of inspiration or comprehension and break through. The universe in the palm was a treasure. Luo Feng couldn't understand the Wu killer wings. He couldn't understand the tomb boat, because they were too profound. However, the universe in the palm was very close to him. He had already created the universe's strongest level technique. This universe in the palm only contained the limits of the universe's strongest. Luo Feng could vaguely feel it with this touch. It caused the bottleneck he had been stuck in for so long to instantly break through. Teacher, Luo Feng suddenly opened his eyes. The Chaos City Master looked over. The Master and disciple's eyes met and they both understood. The primal Chaos City Master couldn't hide the excitement on his face. His disciple's strength was heaven-defying. He was already so strong even before breaking through. If he were to achieve a breakthrough, it would be of great help to him in the upcoming final battle. "I'll head out for a bit," Luo Feng said. "Go." The Primal Chaos City Master nodded. At the same time, he stopped using the universe in the palm. Shua. Luo Feng teleported and vanished. Luo Feng's God Country. It was so vast that it could be said to be endless. Hua, the endless tranquil sea unceasingly rippled. Even though there was no wind, 3 feet of waves rose. This endless tranquil sea had a diameter of over 80 billion kilometers. It was deep and vast, and the ordinary waves were astonishingly large. With this endless sea, along with the God Country's support, even the universe's strongest would be at a disadvantage if they attacked the originally calm God Country. When Luo Feng broke through his bottleneck within the tomb boat, rumble, the primal universe origin laws immediately descended. That endless pressure enveloped the entire God Country. The originally calm endless sea immediately began to rumble. A figure suddenly appeared in the endless tranquil sea. It was the Serene Sea Clone. The Serene Sea Clone raised his head to look at the sky. In the sky above the endless tranquil sea, an incomparably huge whirlpool had appeared. There were black and white whirlpools, there were circles of huge whirlpools. They were vast and endless, and they contained boundless power. Knowing that he had broken through, Luo Feng immediately caused the ocean clone from before to collapse, after which he immediately formed a new one. This was the fastest way to return to the God Country. "I've broken through." Luo Feng's ocean clone immediately flashed and teleported to the edge of the endless sea. This energy, it's too terrifying. Luo Feng looked at the huge whirlpool with a diameter of over 100 billion kilometers. It was different from the 5-colored whirlpool when he broke through to the universe night. This time it was black and white alternating. A huge black whirlpool, within it was a white whirlpool, and within it was a black whirlpool, white whirlpool, black whirlpool, white whirlpool, one circle after another. It emitted an overwhelming pressure. In the center of the whirlpool was a pathway that connected the universe origin law ocean to Luo Feng's God Country. The crucial moment. Luo Feng immediately understood. It was the most crucial moment of his breakthrough, swallowing God energy. The endless sea was so huge. To increase his God energy required a very long time. And the larger the body, the stronger the recovery. Even if a universe lord instantly self-destructed, the rate at which he used up his God energy was far from the endless sea's recovery speed. As the body grew, the energy grew, and the recovery speed was shocking. Hence, at the beginning, the endless sea's growth was very slow. From 10 billion kilometers to 20 billion kilometers, it took a long time. From 20 billion kilometers to 80 billion kilometers, it was much faster. However, compared to the future, it was still much slower. The further one went, the faster the speed would rise. Otherwise, even the 9 Abyss Lord wouldn't have such a huge 9 Abyss Ocean. Luo Feng was about to become a Universe Lord. His endless sea, compared to the 9 Abyss Ocean, was still much weaker. Hence naturally he had to treasure this opportunity. The time limit for swallowing God energy is limited. I have to use the highest efficiency, Luo Feng thought. Rumble, at the core of the black and white whirlpool, the whirlpool passageway with a diameter of tens of billions of kilometers poured out torrents of divine power. Rumble. It was as though the sea was collapsing. The speed at which the seawater poured out was terrifying. It was much faster than when Luo Feng broke through to the universe night level. "I'll absorb. Luo Feng used all his willpower to control the endless sea. Madly absorbing, immediately converting. His divine power, which was originally at the 10,000 times Gene Venerable level, immediately increased by 100 times, reaching the 10,000 times Lord of the Universe level. Swallowing, converting. The speed at which the whirlpool pathway poured the God energy was completely related to Luo Feng's endless sea devouring speed. If the devouring speed was fast enough, naturally the pouring speed would be even faster. Convert, convert, convert. Luo Feng used all his strength to control. He could feel the benefits of having a strong willpower. His strong willpower also greatly increased the conversion efficiency. However, no matter how much it increased, it was still not enough. After a while, the entire God country regained its calm. The primeval universe origin laws had already retreated, and the God energy could only be swallowed for a short period of time. My endless sea has a diameter of 80 billion kilometers. Luo Feng stood in the air above it. Just now, the amount of God energy converted reached about 15% of my endless sea's volume. Luo Feng estimated that the entire endless sea's diameter was about 80 billion kilometers, of which over 40 billion kilometers had already been converted, about 15% of the total volume. In terms of efficiency, it was already very high. After all, the endless sea was simply too huge. The last time I broke through to the universe night, the conversion rate was 12%. This time it's actually higher. Luckily my willpower broke through. If it wasn't at the universe's strongest level, the amount of God energy I can convert would be much less. Luo Feng immediately descended. Plop! Falling into the endless sea, it automatically disintegrated and assimilated into the endless sea. Very quickly, a new ocean clone was formed in the endless sea. This one was close to 10,000 kilometers tall. Its God energy level was also 1,000 times Universe Lord level. Compared to when Luo Feng was still at the Universe Night level, his God energy was 10 times higher. Hua hua hua, the entire endless sea was still resonating with the distant universe origin laws ocean, absorbing the God energy and working hard to convert the entire ocean. However, this speed couldn't compare to before. Xiao! 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 3 beams of light appeared simultaneously in the God country, becoming 3 beams of light high up in the sky, flying freely. At the same time, waves of God energy swiftly flew out from the ghost ocean below, directly wrapping around the 3 God bodies above. The 3 God bodies were the Earth body, the golden horned beast, and the Masha clansman. In an instant, the 3 bodies began to transform. The Earth body and the golden horned beast's God power immediately increased by 100 times, reaching the 10,000 times Universe Lord Gene level. The Masha clansman too increased by 100 times, reaching 100 times Universe Lord level. This Masha clansman of mine, in terms of God energy, is already comparable to my original body. The Earth body, the golden horned beast, the Masha clansman, and the serene sea clone were all filled with fighting spirit. Their God energy replenished. Like the Earth body and golden horned beast, even if they wielded the pinnacle treasures, they could still unleash pinnacle level 6 strength. The Masha clansman wielded the blood shadow blade, that too had pinnacle level 6 strength. The serene sea clone had many techniques. Right now there are 2 things. Luo Feng's 4 bodies all flew to the core of the God country. In the plaza before the shrine, the 4 of them spread out and sat. The golden horned beast laid down. The first is the Masha clansman. After reaching the Universe Lord level, the Masha clansman will no longer face the bottleneck of 100 times. It can be raised to 1,000 times, even 10,000 times. As for the materials to raise it, I've prepared them all. Luo Feng thought. The Masha clansman wasn't a flesh and blood life form. It couldn't train the 9 secrets manual. It could only be like normal Universe Lords. Only after reaching the Universe Lord level would it be able to raise it by 100 times. The second is my God country. After breaking through to the Universe Lord level, it's more complete. Luo Feng looked at his vast God country. The God country was slowly transforming. The size was secondary. The more important thing was that the structure of the God country was getting more stable and close to its limit. One had to know that after this transformation, the next breakthrough would be the breakthrough from the God country to the small universe level. This would be the ultimate level of the God country. 5 chapters completed, before the final battle, Luo Feng had finally stepped into the universe lord level. At the same time, an early notice. As usual, I'll be updating at night tomorrow, I'll definitely be sleeping in. And according to the usual practice, after 5 chapters, I'll be getting recommendation vote. Working hard at 5 chapters, of course I have to get votes, everyone has to vote too. Asterisk to be continued. If you like this work, please come to Chidian.com to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1325. Human Territory, Primal Region. Freedom Alliance. Ancestral God Sect, Space Beast Alliance, many lone warriors. The Primal Chaos City leader stood before the railing and looked at the vast thousand treasure river in space, muttering, "They're all waiting for our humans' reply. Trying to learn more about the inheritance. How do we become the strongest in the universe? How do we train to the limits of the strongest? If we really spread it all out, wouldn't this inheritance be the same as telling all the large powers? What's Luo Feng fighting for?" The Primal Chaos City leader was indeed troubled. The ancient inheritance to humanity was split into 2 parts. One was to systematically go from the lowest to the highest, with a higher efficiency in nurturing the Universe Lord. The second was to allow the Universe Lords to become the strongest in the universe, even reaching the limits of existence. Right now the large powers wanted the second part. However, even if humanity continued to multiply in the future, they would still require enough territory. Hence, having a few hundred Universe Lords was already not bad. If they didn't have enough territory, having over 100 Universe Lords was already not bad. And the large powers now had close to 1,000 Universe Lords. The moment they received guidance, it was destined that the strongest in the universe would be born one after another. Their efficiency would greatly increase, and there would even be a few ancestor-level beings. If that was the case, this ancient inheritance, what difference would it make if humanity got it or not? It would instead benefit the other races. Since that's the case, we might as well fight to the death. The various races don't even think of getting a single bit. The Primal Chaos City leader thought, even if our race retreats to the primal universe with Luo Feng's breakthrough to Universe Lord, especially with his 4 bodies, they all have level 6 pinnacle strength. That so-called allied army can't always stay together. Luo Feng's 4 bodies, Peng Gong, Darkness, myself, we can definitely fight. At most we'll be quiet for a period of time. We'll eventually have a chance to rise. Just as the Primal Chaos City leader was pondering, suddenly a silhouette walked over from the distant winding walkway. He was dressed in a simple silver robe, causing the leader's eyes to gleam. "Luo Feng?" "Luo Feng," the Primal Chaos City leader said. "Teacher." Not far away, the youth walking along the walkway looked up. With a step, schwa, he arrived beside the leader. The leader looked at Luo Feng and nodded in satisfaction. "You've broken through?" the leader asked. "Yes." Luo Feng smiled. He was indeed very happy. The earth body and the golden horned beast had both reached the limit of the god power of the Universe Lord. Even the strongest experts in the universe could only display this level of divine power in the cosmic sea. It could be said that in terms of divine power, these 2 avatars were no weaker than any other existence. The genes of the Masha clan clone increased, reaching 3,000 times the normal gene level. Its divine body also reached 10,000 kilometers tall. It was just that it would be extremely difficult to attain perfect genes in a short period of time. After all, the Hong Alliance did not have enough precious treasures to raise the Masha clan lord of the universe's genes. However, the 3,000 times gene level made the Masha clan clone extremely strong. The Serene Sea doppelganger was the weakest, 1,000 times the genetic level. Even so, he was still much stronger than his original self. Anyway, in the primeval universe, the 4 clones could easily unleash peak rank 6 strength. And in the cosmic sea, Luo Feng's battle strength would be even stronger, especially with annihilation. He would be able to jump levels and explode. It could be said that whether it was in the primeval universe or the cosmic sea, Luo Feng's current battle strength was indeed one of the highest. Even though his origin laws couldn't compare to the strongest warriors in the universe, he could still rely on the Blood Shadow Blade, one of the absolute arts left behind by the 3rd-generation ancestor, annihilation, to make up for it. Good. The primeval city leader was filled with glee, praising and nodding. Very good. Teacher, before I noticed that you seemed worried about the final war? Luo Feng asked. The primeval city leader heard and immediately sighed. How can I not be worried? The Freedom Alliance's sudden establishment has greatly increased its authority. Right now, it's waiting for our reply. The Ancestral God Sect, the Space Beast Alliance, the strongest warriors of the Solitary Warriors have all contacted our human race with requests waiting for our reply. Teacher, what do you mean? Luo Feng asked. If we really agree to their requests, wouldn't this inheritance be giving it all to them? Why would our human race work so hard for that? If that's the case, we might as well fight to the death and return to the primeval universe. And whoever dares to destroy our human territory, we can ride the tomb boat and kill our way into their territory. That way, fighting to the death is better than giving it all to them. The primeval city leader snorted coldly. Luo Feng nodded and smiled. Teacher, I have an idea. Idea? The primeval city leader looked at him. Teacher, this time I've broken through to Universe Lord. My power has greatly increased. Especially my endless dark ocean body, it's even evolved. Luo Feng said softly beside. As he listened, the primeval city leader's eyes gleamed. After a while, Luo Feng finished explaining his idea. If that's the case, the situation is indeed much better. However, this way, will your endless dark ocean be able to withstand it? The primeval city leader was slightly worried. Teacher, don't worry. If we really fight, in terms of God energy consumption, I'm really not afraid. Even if their bodies are used up, my endless dark ocean will still be fine. Luo Feng said confidently. As for the other aspects, I've thought about it carefully. With the Star Pagoda, there's definitely no problem. I can completely use it. The primeval city leader, however, still frowned, filled with worry. Because Luo Feng's plan was too crazy. If he wasn't careful, Luo Feng could fall. Don't rush, test it out first. The primeval city leader emphasized. Test it out first, feel it for yourself. If you have confidence, then you can proceed with this plan. In the eyes of the primeval city leader, the future human race, the ones with the highest hopes of becoming the strongest, were him and Luo Feng. And Luo Feng had acquired the Duandong River inheritance, and he was the only inheritor. His chances of transcending the reincarnation would probably be even higher than his teacher. Hence, he would rather fight to the death and retreat to the primal universe than take Luo Feng's life as a joke. Alright, then let's test it out. Luo Feng nodded. I'll gather the Universe Lords. The primeval city leader nodded. That day, the Universe Lords in the human domain primal region began a large gathering. A total of over 100 Universe Lords gathered together to conduct an experiment. After the experiment, the primeval city leader personally went to find the ancestor and had a discussion, following which he confirmed with Luo Feng. Alright, after the experiment you've confirmed your confidence. The ancestor thinks there's no problem. Then let's do it. The primeval city leader nodded. He was in high spirits, his eyes seemed to be burning with flames. These few days, the Ancestral God Sect, the Space Beast Alliance, the group of lone warriors, especially the Freedom Alliance, they're all really greedy. Don't they want an answer? Alright, I'll give them an answer. The primeval city leader smiled. Luo Feng smiled too. Teacher, Who knows, the situation might be even better than we expected. Help us or help the Allied army, let them decide. The primeval city leader said directly. Before, he was still hesitating. After all, if they fought to the death, humanity's development would be very slow, they would have to endure for a long time. To make that decision was too difficult. And even though Luo Feng's plan was crazy, in the primal universe, it was indeed possible. For this, he had gathered more than 100 lords of the universe to experiment, and he had also gathered the other lords of the universe to discuss it. He had even discussed it with the progenitor. In the end, everyone had agreed to the new plan. Let's do it to our heart's content. Within the distant ancestral god secret region. Within the ancestral god palace. Gathered here were the 3 ancestral gods, 8 great beast gods, along with many guardian beast gods, guardian god lords, etc. Gathered here, they didn't belong to the Human Alliance, the Allied Army or the Freedom Alliance. They all completely belonged to the ancestral god sect, and almost all of them were special life forms. Everyone. Within the palace there were 3 thrones, each with the 3 ancestral gods. The one in the middle had a ferocious beast head, strands of hair as thick as a finger drooped down, his eyes gleaming green as he gazed below. The humans have given our ancestral god sect an answer. The large group of universe lords below, like the 9 underworld lord etc., all waited anxiously, all filled with anticipation. Their answer was very simple. They only gave our ancestral god sect an ancient guide on how to become the strongest in the universe. That's all. This was the only condition humanity was willing to pay. The moment these words were spoken, the large group of universe lords below went silent, most of them revealed shocked expressions. They were all shocked because the humans were currently in a difficult situation, yet their reply was so strong. There are 2 requests that we've made before. One was how the universe lords could become the strongest in the universe. The other was how to reach the limits of the strongest in the universe. The humans did not agree to the second condition. A strange black fish with many spikes on its body floated in the air, and it let out a low voice. 3 ancestral gods, the 9 underworld lords said directly. The humans only agreed to one condition? Can't they continue negotiating? This is their final bottom line, the ancestral god in the middle said slowly. Everyone below was silent. Everyone, make your decision. Will you join the Human Alliance? The ancestral god in the middle said slowly. On the same day, in the starry sky, there was an island floating amidst the boundless golden waves. On the island, there were over 400 thrones scattered in a circle. Many figures were gathered, all of them emitting powerful auras. When these 400 auras gathered together, the surrounding spacetime distorted. This was the current number 1 faction in the primeval universe, the Freedom Alliance. They had been waiting for the humans' reply all this time. And just now, the human emissary had replied. The human race is willing to give you information on how the universe lords became the strongest in the universe, the ancient civilization. With this condition, the Freedom Alliance will help us fight against the Allied forces. This is the limit of what we humans can agree to. There is no need for further negotiations. The human emissary's reply was very straightforward. Just this one condition. Whether you agree or not is up to the Freedom Alliance. If you like this work, please come to Chidien.com to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1326. At the core of the Freedom Alliance, more than 400 powerful existences had gathered. The Genesis Island Master said directly, every master of the universe should know the answer of the humans. Even if there are a few who don't know, I believe they will understand after talking to the other masters of the universe. If that's the case, what should we do? Everyone, let us know. The humans are too arrogant. They don't respect the Freedom Alliance at all. Right now, the Freedom Alliance is the strongest in the primeval universe. Without our help, they won't be able to establish themselves in the primeval universe. What are the humans relying on? How dare they be so arrogant? Not leaving any room for retreat? Courting death. Instantly, some of the more violent masters of the universe began to roar. Ever since the establishment of the Freedom Alliance, they had felt that their position in the primeval universe was different. They were no longer the weak, idle race of the past, but the powerful Freedom Alliance. They believed that the humans would definitely beg them, hence they were full of confidence. But this time, the humans' answer naturally angered them. As some of them roared, some of the masters of the universe secretly conversed. Yi Yen, what does your faction think? What do we think? Actually, we've been stuck as masters of the universe for a very, very long time. Becoming the strongest in the universe is what we need the most right now. As for the limit of being the strongest in the universe, that's still very far from us. In the entire Freedom Alliance, the one who wants to reach the limit the most is the Genesis Island Master. To us, the conditions that the humans have given us are already enough. I think so too. But the Genesis Island Master's influence is not small. He definitely won't agree easily. There are also those who were bullied by the pinnacle races in the past. Some of them are full of confidence and think that they are great now. They are also on the Genesis Island Master's side. The Genesis Island Master sat and watched the debate unfold. His gaze swept across the more than 400 masters of the universe. Although the Freedom Alliance is huge, it's precisely because it's so huge that some of them have a life-and-death feud with each other. It's only because of the pressure from the two major factions that they've united. In reality, there are so many factions within, so chaotic. These factions are a little too radical and overconfident. A little timid, still looking up to the pinnacle races like before, not daring to offend them. A little calm. How cunning, the Genesis Island Lord thought to himself. It will be very difficult to get them to listen to me. I have to think of a way to get them to stand on my side. We must force the humans to hand over the inheritance of the strongest person in the universe. The lifespans of the masters of the universe were extremely long, and this matter was extremely crucial. There were many factions within the Freedom Alliance, and some factions were at loggerheads with each other. There were all sorts of arguments, and even the Shiva Island Lord could not control them. After arguing for half a month, no one was able to convince the other. There are so many universe lords, and quite a few of them are ambitious. The Genesis Island Master rarely spoke. He had been quietly observing the situation. The Freedom Alliance is such a powerful faction. There are definitely many people who want to control this faction. Just like the Beijiang Alliance. The alliance leader was just a figurehead with no real power. The ones with real power were the Star River Master, the Black Lotus Master, and the Green Mist Star Master. Right now, some ambitious people in the Freedom Alliance were clearly trying to get the Genesis Island Master to one side, making him a mere figurehead. Naturally, the Lord of Genesis Island would not be willing to let his power be taken away. As for the choice this time, the internal disputes reflected the internal divisions of the Freedom Alliance. The potential threat of power struggles was extremely serious. At the peak of the Star God Mountain, there was a lone mountain, called the Primogenitor Mountain. Primogenitor Mountain. Rumble, the surrounding space changed color. Thick lightning bolts rumbled, and the atmosphere was incredibly tense. A huge serpentine being could be seen on the Primogenitor Mountain. Humans! What huge ambitions! The Star Sky Primogenitor let out a low and furious roar. Primogenitor, how should we choose? Primogenitor, let's let the human faction know the power of the Space Beast Alliance. Since they are unwilling to hand it over, then we'll think of a way to force them to hand it over. Around them, many universe lords gathered. They were all furious too. The humans actually dared to reply like that. They were really looking for death. Humans have produced beings like the Primogenitor before. Their bones are naturally filled with arrogance. Right now, their race's Luofeng has acquired the broken East River inheritance. How can they not be ambitious? The Star Sky primogenitor said slowly. Why would they easily hand over the strongest training method? I originally thought that under such circumstances, they would compromise. I didn't expect them to still be unwilling to hand it over. The Star Sky primogenitor was furious too. He originally thought that he had some relationship with Luofeng. Plus, with Luofeng's current position, he had a lot of authority in the upper echelon of humanity. On this basis, he personally went to negotiate with Luofeng, giving the humans enough face. He originally thought that this way, the humans might pass on the experience of reaching the pinnacle of the universe to him. However, the truth was, the humans still weren't willing to hand it over. They were only willing to give the ancient civilization guidance on how to become the strongest in the universe. Primogenitor, speak, what should we do? Primogenitor, we can't let the humans have it easy. Primogenitor, the space beasts all roared. The space beasts were naturally bloodthirsty and extremely arrogant. They raised their conditions, yet the humans didn't agree. They were only willing to hand over a portion. This naturally made them furious and unhappy. Don't rush, there's no rush to make a decision. With the humans' personalities, even if the Allied army wins, they'll probably retreat to the primal universe and not hand over the inheritance. The space primogenitor said slowly, we'll wait for an opportunity. Wait for the moment when the humans are truly in a desperate situation. I don't believe that they won't be anxious. If at the last moment, they still aren't willing to agree to us, then we'll join the Allied army at the last moment and make their defeat even worse. Yes. Humans. The space beasts all roared. They may have relationships with the other universe lords, but when it came to the benefits of the entire race, they didn't hesitate to stand with their own race. Just like how Luofeng had many friends, at this time he too stood with the human race. The survival of the race, war, it was just that cruel. The human race gave the Freedom Alliance, Ancestral God Sect, Space Beast Alliance, and the strongest warriors of the Lone Wolves their answers. Neither side could be completely satisfied. Human territory, primal region. Our answers, there are definitely some who are unhappy. However, they have to make a decision, choosing the Allied army. Even if they fight, they might not be able to obtain any inheritance information. Choosing us, even if they lose, they'll still be able to obtain part of the inheritance information. Luofeng stood in the air above Thousand Treasure River. Beside him was the Darkness Emperor. The Darkness Emperor nodded. Right, hence the situation shouldn't be too bad. I reckon there'll still be some powers that join us. Luofeng nodded. Even if our human race temporarily slows down, it won't be long before we swiftly rise again. Right. The primal Chaos City leader was filled with confidence too. Go. Luofeng waved his hand and immediately a 9-level pagoda flew out from his palm, swiftly flying to the center of the distant Thousand Treasure River. Expand. Luofeng immediately controlled the Star Pagoda. Rumble, the Star Pagoda began to swiftly expand and expand. Its height continued to increase to over 100 million kilometers, 1 billion kilometers, 10 billion kilometers, until it reached the distant palace where Luofeng was staying. The Star Pagoda finally stopped. Let's begin. Luofeng said. Let's go, I have to watch this scene too. If I don't watch this shocking scene, it'll be hard to come by again. The Darkness Emperor smiled. Luofeng smiled. Let's go. Taking a step, the two of them immediately flew to the base of the majestic Star Pagoda. That place was close to Luofeng's palace. The two entered the palace and very quickly arrived within a quiet, huge secret room. Within the dark and silent room, one of the walls had a huge, intricate carving. The entire carving was about 100,000 kilometers tall. After all, these palaces were for the universe lords to stay in. The palaces themselves were naturally incomparably majestic. The training rooms were naturally huge too. It was normal for one wall to be 100,000 kilometers tall. What seemed like a normal intricate carving was actually the entrance to the pathway. The God Country teleportation pathway has already been established. Luo Feng pointed at the carving on the wall. This is the entrance, it connects directly to my God Country. Let's go. Luo Feng took a step and touched the wall. The wall rippled a little and Luo Feng's entire body entered. The Darkness Emperor followed too. Within the Star Pagoda was the Masha clansman. Naturally he could easily control the Star Pagoda, hence he wasn't worried. Within the endless vast God Country. Rumble, the endless dark ocean rumbled. Above it floated a screen of light and two silhouettes walked out. It was Luo Feng and the Darkness Emperor. This is your God Country? The Darkness Emperor surveyed his surroundings and exclaimed, "Not bad." Luo Feng smiled and nodded. His God Country had already reached its limit. One more step and it would be the small universe. Such a powerful God Country, even the strongest warriors of the universe wouldn't dare barge in. Hence, at Luo Feng's level, there was no longer a need to hide the God Country. Your endless dark ocean godly body. The Darkness Emperor gazed at the vast endless dark ocean, his eyes filled with envy. Powerful, with such a godly body, the God energy is truly endless. Look. Luo Feng smiled. One was that he had taken over the golden horned beast. Two was that the blood he chose back then was the limit of the golden horned beast's ability to nurture. If it exceeded the limit, it wouldn't even be able to nurture. Three was that he had the 9 secret manual. Only then was he able to raise the originally average blood ocean gene level from the prince level to the 9 underworld lord level. This luck isn't something you can get just because you want it. The Darkness Emperor shook his head. Luo Feng smiled. Then I'll begin. Luo Feng looked at the endless dark ocean and his consciousness began to control it. Immediately the endless dark ocean's water began to surge. The water was like a flood dragon that flew straight into the screen of light. Rumble, following the entrance of the screen, the surging sea water madly rushed towards the other end of the pathway. In the primal region, Luo Feng's training room statue wall also madly gushed out large amounts of sea water. If you like this work, please come to Qidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 13:27. Primal Region, Core Area. Luo Feng and the Primal City leaders' palaces were scattered around. 1,000 treasure river rippled, and in the center, there was a 10 billion kilometers tall 9-level tower floating there. A silhouette suddenly flew out of the tower. He was dressed in black and gazed ahead. Snow, sand, ocean. Masha Luo Feng swiftly controlled it. In an instant, the endless snow-sand ocean swiftly enveloped an area of 10 billion kilometers. Naturally, it also enveloped his palace and a portion of the base of the Star Pagoda. Rumble. The surging sea water immediately rushed out of Luo Feng's palace, almost like a water dragon, its speed nearing light speed. At the base of the Star Pagoda, next to Luo Feng's palace, the side door was open too. This side door was about 1 billion km tall, the water easily rushed in. A water pillar with a diameter of 100,000 kilometers, even if it flies at light speed, to move the entire ocean over, it would still take a long time. Masha Luo Feng frowned as he stood in the drifting ice-cold white sand. It took a very long time. Up till now, it was only 100,000 kilometers in diameter, and the endless ocean was a huge ocean with a diameter of 80 billion kilometers. This pillar of water continued to erupt at the speed of light for an entire year. It was still just a small part of the entire ocean. One had to know that many universe lords didn't even reach 100,000 kilometers in height. Luo Feng's water pillar didn't even shake the entire ocean for a year. One could see how vast it was. I still have to continue building the God Country pathway. Masha Luo Feng thought. Rumble, Masha Luofeng was here while his earth body was in the God Country. The two of them worked together and began to stabilize the God Country pathway. Stabilizing the God Country pathway was very common. Like the Black Dragon Mountain Empire's founding emperor, even a normal Undying could do it. Maybe to a normal Undying, this wasn't a small price to pay. However, to Luofeng, even if he built 10,000 or 1,000,000 pathways, it was an extremely simple task. Rise. Condense. Masha Luofeng pointed at the empty space in the courtyard of his palace. It had a diameter of about 1,000,000 km and the entire pathway swiftly solidified. The smaller it was, the easier it would be. The larger it was, the more difficult it would be to stabilize it. Especially as the God Country passages grew larger, the cost of using them grew as well. Even though Luofeng didn't care about his wealth, he didn't want to waste too much. Hence, the God Country passages he built were usually at most 1,000,000 km in diameter, and the smaller ones were at least tens of thousands of km in diameter. One by one, the passageways were built. Bang! 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 The water pillars of the serene sea were either extremely thick or extremely thin. They were like 10,000 horses galloping, all of them almost at the speed of light as they charged towards the side door of the Star Tower. After all, that side door was 1,000,000,000 kilometers tall and could easily withstand the impact of the tranquil sea's water. However, as the number of passageways increased, it also forced the Star Tower to expand in other directions. Fortunately, the space in the core area was extremely large. After all, the Thousand Treasure River spanned several light years. From this, one could see how vast the space was. The Star Pagoda continued to grow bigger, reaching a height of hundreds of billions of kilometers. It continued to grow bigger. Eventually, all the side doors of the Star Pagoda and even the abyss at the base of the Star Pagoda opened to accommodate more and more seawater from the tranquil ocean. Build, build, build. Luofeng wantonly built. Too slow, too slow, too slow. Luofeng too had a headache over the vastness of the endless sea. However, he could only work hard and build over 1,000,000 God Country passageways, filling up the entire area around Luofeng's palaces. This caused all the passageways to add up to a diameter of 100 billion kilometers. Even so, it took a total of 3 days for all the endless sea water to enter the Star Pagoda from the God Country. Within these 3 days, many foreign warriors, even human Undyings and Sector Lord attendants were extremely curious. Why did the endless snow-sand ocean cover such a huge region? However, even if they were curious, they had no way of finding out. Within the Star Pagoda, within the vast independent space, the endless sea water was flowing. Above it were Luofeng, Darkness Lord, Primal Chaos City Leader and Peng Gong Leader. I've finally seen it, Darkness Lord exclaimed. These 3 days I've been beside it. Only now have I truly felt how huge the endless sea is. A 100,000 kilometers passageway, even if it takes a year, 10 years, 100 years, it's still very far away. With my body, it doesn't even take a blink of an eye. Otherwise, how could the 9 Abyss Lords' 9 Abyss Ocean compare to an absolute treasure? Primal Chaos City Leader smiled. It's because the other races are helpless against the 9 Abyss Ocean, that's why it's comparable to an absolute treasure. Peng Gong Leader looked below with envy. Such a huge body. It's too huge, even moving it is hard. Luofeng laughed mockingly. Look, just moving it from the God Country to here takes a lot of effort. Madly building the passages, relying on them, the endless sea water can slowly move over. Actually, to move the endless sea over, Luofeng had thought of many ways. As the entire endless sea had to be moved, it was as slow as a turtle. Hence, from the start, Luofeng brought the Star Pagoda into the God Country. The Star Pagoda became incomparably huge, after which the endless sea water would rush into the Star Pagoda to move. Back when Luofeng was still weak, He used the Star Pagoda to do so. However, the Endless Seas area was very small. His god energy level was very weak. But now it was completely different. The Star Pagoda that carried the entire Endless Sea, its movement speed was ridiculously slow. Even Luo Feng found it extremely taxing. Even if it was slow, using the God Country passage should be fast. However, in reality, the moment the Star Pagoda touched the passage, it caused it to crumble. The pressure from the Star Pagoda that carried the Endless Sea was simply too great. The God Country passage was too weak, it couldn't withstand it at all. This made Luo Feng dumbfounded. Was it impossible to transfer it over? Luckily, Luo Feng thought about the God Country passage he built, allowing the Endless Sea water to flow over. The Endless Sea water was naturally good at flowing, naturally and quickly. This made Luo Feng exclaim. Luckily it was made of water. If it was a huge mountain range or a world tree, there would be no way to build such a huge God Country passage. No matter what, after much effort, he finally managed to move the Endless Sea from the God Country to the primal region's Star Pagoda. After which, Luo Feng kept the snow-sand ocean and everything returned to peace. The foreign races were all filled with curiosity, not knowing what had happened in these 3 days. After which, the human race waited patiently. Many methods were prepared, all they had to do was wait for the big powers to reply. The Ancestral God Sect has agreed to join the human side. The Ancestral God Sect has requested that we first give them some guidance. After the battle, we'll give them the rest. Alright. Haha, the Ancestral God Sect joining the human side, that's equivalent to having 3 more level 6 warriors. Also, the Ancestral God Sect has 2 extremely powerful treasures. As the news spread, the human side rejoiced. On the contrary, after the Allied army found out, they were enraged. The Freedom Alliance was still fighting internally. When they heard that the Ancestral God Sect had joined the human side, the internal fighting within the Freedom Alliance became even more intense. Creator Dark Ian has joined the Allied army. North Border Alliance leader has joined the Allied army. Yu has joined the Allied army. Demon God Void has joined the Allied army. The news came one after another. Even though the humans felt some pressure, everything was still in preparation. Because since they decided not to hand over the information on training to the pinnacle of the strongest in the universe, then it was destined that these lone warriors wouldn't help the humans. The Allied army, however, was overjoyed. At this time, the differences between the two sides were starting to become clear. Other than Mountain Visitor, the Beast Primogenitor, and a few other strong warriors, most of the forces had expressed their stance. Now, only the Astral Beast Alliance and the Freedom Alliance had not expressed their final decision. The Astral Beast Alliance envoy is here again. He's quite eloquent. He even said that teaching them the information on training to the pinnacle of the strongest in the universe won't affect the overall situation of the primeval universe. The threat in their conversation was obvious. Clearly, the Astral Beast Alliance will join the Allied army. Ignore him. The most important thing now is the Freedom Alliance. Currently, all the forces in the primeval universe had their eyes on the Freedom Alliance. This was the most important force. The Allied army's strength had increased greatly, far surpassing the human side. However, if the Freedom Alliance helped the humans, then the Allied army was destined to fail. Fight. The internal division of the Freedom Alliance was very serious. Most of them wanted to join the human side. At least, they would be able to obtain the ancient civilization's cultivation guidance of the pinnacle of the universe. Another group included the Origin Island Lord. They wanted to pressure the humans. Otherwise, they would join the Allied army and threaten the humans. Both sides had their differences. Especially when the situation of the primeval universe fell on them, the differences were getting more and more serious. The Origin Island Lord was the leader of the radical faction. Against the other factions that formed a more stable faction, the fight was incredibly intense. In the endless dark ocean, the third month in the Star Tower. Luo Feng. Teacher. Luo Feng and the Primal Chaos City leader met. Hurry and head to Earth. The Primal Chaos City leader ordered. That Freedom Alliance leader, the Origin Island Lord, is currently descending on Earth with his body. Descending on Earth? Luo Feng frowned. He's here alone to negotiate with us humans. The Primal Chaos City leader emphasized, and our primal region has many strong warriors from the other races. He doesn't wish to reveal his identity. Hence the negotiation point is on Earth. It seems like the Origin Island Lord has the intention of helping us humans. Alone? Luo Feng understood. Teacher's meaning is, he doesn't represent the Freedom Alliance, but himself? The Primal Chaos City leader nodded. Alright, I'll go meet him. Luo Feng nodded. Sending someone to negotiate showed how important the alliance was. Right now, the humans with the highest positions were Primal Chaos, Luo Feng, Darkness and Peng Gong. Among them, Primal Chaos and Luo Feng were even more important. To be continued. If you like this work, please come to Qidian.com to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1328. Earth was as peaceful as usual. The battle between the two factions in the primal universe didn't even cause a ripple amongst the ordinary citizens of the countless life planets. On the wide streets, one could see many warriors in training clothes who had just left the dojo. There were also many universe merchants discussing business. Luo family? A purple-robed silhouette stood in front of an ancient mansion. This ancient mansion was the Luo family's old mansion on Earth. It had a special meaning. There were guards in front of it, preventing normal people from entering or looking around. However, the purple-robed silhouette stood there. The surrounding people, even the guards, couldn't see him at all. Mum, this is Luo Feng's home? Right, this is Luo Feng's home. Haven't you always wanted to come to Earth, to see our Earth's greatest leader? I've done it. After returning to Yuhua planet, you have to study hard in the dojo. Mum, I heard that Luo Feng was born in our Earth's distant headquarter city era. There were many ruined cities back then. I want to go take a look. Relax, we've had enough time on Earth this time. We can see many sights. A pair of black-haired, black-eyed, yellow-skinned mother and son looked at the Luo family mansion from the distant streets, discussing for a while before leaving. Every day, at every hour, there were many people who came here. Even in the headquarter city era, Luo Feng and the others back then risked their lives to kill the swallowing monster. It had already raised Luo Feng's position to an absolute hero. After the Nulan Shan family descended on Earth, Luo Feng once again blocked them. Luo Feng's position grew higher and higher. The news on Earth naturally raised him higher and higher. Also, as the Earthlings roamed the universe, they benefited greatly from Luo Feng too. This made them even more grateful to him. Hence, in the past 100,000 years, the Earthlings passed it down from generation to generation. Luo Feng had completely become the greatest leader of the Earthlings entering the universe era, a god. Shihua Island leader. A voice resounded. The purple-robed silhouette turned to look. Amidst the bustling crowd on the distant street, a black-haired youth wearing a silver-white robe strolled over. The surrounding people couldn't see him at all, almost as though he was in a different space. On this street, there were many people from distant planets, specially coming to see Luo Feng's growth. They didn't even notice that Luo Feng had just walked past them. Luo Feng. The purple-robed silhouette smiled. I didn't expect the Origin Island Lord to choose to meet here. Luo Feng walked to the front of the mansion and looked up. I want to see how the most talented young expert of the human race rose to power. How did he rise to power? What kind of environment was he nurtured in? Genesis Island Master said softly. Luo Feng laughed. He glanced at the Genesis Island Lord. The Genesis Island Lord's face was handsome to the point of perfection. It was hard to tell if he was a man or a woman. However, the Genesis Island Lord was a special life form, so it was possible that he didn't have a gender. Among you humans, I admire the progenitors the most. The Genesis Island Lord sighed softly, especially the virtual universe created by the primordial ancestor. This virtual universe instantly caused human culture to flourish thousands of times. Even cultures scattered across the universe could collide in the virtual universe and create new sparks. All kinds of imaginations can be realized in the virtual universe. Even I often experience your human culture in the virtual universe. Luo Feng nodded. Having the virtual universe and not having the virtual universe was indeed different. In the virtual universe, I've watched your human genius battles many times. It's just that during your batch of genius battles, I was adventuring in the cosmic sea and didn't dare to be distracted, hence I forgot to watch. The Genesis Island Lord sighed and shook his head. If I had watched back then and was moved, I would have taken you in as a disciple. How good would that be? This Duan-Dong River inheritance, wouldn't I have easily obtained it? Even if the Genesis Island Lord had watched that batch of genius battles, he still wouldn't have taken me in as a disciple. That batch, I wasn't the most outstanding. Luo Feng said. Right. The Genesis Island Lord sighed and shook his head. No one can say for sure about the future. Even if I had watched, I wouldn't have been able to guess your future fate. What's even more unexpected is, a little punk from an aboriginal race, actually growing to the point where he can speak to me as an equal. Luo Feng creased his eyebrows. The Genesis Island Lord isn't here just to chat with me, right? The Genesis Island Lord's expression immediately changed. Luo Feng. The Genesis Island Lord stared at Luo Feng. My reason for coming here is very simple. Right now all the large powers of the primal universe are watching the final decision of our Freedom Alliance. It can be said that whichever side our Freedom Alliance joins, that side will definitely win. Luo Feng nodded. And right now our Freedom Alliance is internally divided. The Genesis Island Lord said, a portion wants to join your human faction, and the other portion wants more. I'm the second portion. This time I'm here, there's only one goal. You humans, give me the ancient civilization experience of training to the pinnacle of the strongest in the universe. The Genesis Island Lord looked at Luo Feng. Luo Feng immediately revealed a cold smile. Don't be in a rush to reject. The Genesis Island Lord said, I'm here to represent myself. Which means the experience of training to the pinnacle that you humans have given me is only mine. The inheritance you've given me, I won't give it to anyone else in the Freedom Alliance. And I'll guide the people I can influence, urging the Freedom Alliance to join your human faction. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. You mean, right. That's what I mean. The conditions you humans have given the Freedom Alliance are still so little. As for training to the pinnacle, just give me one. I'll help you humans. Right now the Freedom Alliance is split into two. I still have a lot of influence in the second. If I help you, the stalemate will quickly end, and the Freedom Alliance will join your human faction. And I'm not stupid after I get it. I won't foolishly give it to other warriors. Wouldn't that be nurturing enemies? The Genesis Island Lord looked at Luo Feng. What do you humans think? Luo Feng was moved. If the ancient civilization experience of training to the pinnacle of the strongest was only given to the Genesis Island Lord, humanity wouldn't have to worry about him giving it to others. Unless the Genesis Island Lord was truly stupid. Just giving him one in exchange for over 400 Universe Lords joining? Luo Feng nodded within. Even though his plan before was powerful, it had its risk. If the Freedom Alliance joined, there wouldn't be any risk at all. Wait a moment, Luo Feng said. At the same time, Virtual Universe Thunder Island Peak, Luo Feng, Primal Chaos City Leader, Pring Gong and Darkness Lord met. His request is this, to give him the ancient civilization experience of training to the pinnacle of the strongest. He'll help us. Luo Feng said, Teacher, Darkness, Pring Gong, what do you think? Just give him one? Darkness muttered. Pring Gong nodded. There are currently two voices within the Freedom Alliance. One is willing to join us, the other is unwilling and demanding more. The Genesis Island Lord is the leader of the second voice. If he helps us from within, we can indeed unify the Freedom Alliance very quickly. Just giving him one, that's fine too. The Primal Chaos City leader said slowly, one strongest warrior of the universe won't affect the big picture. Right, and the information we give him can be as simple as possible. Darkness Lord laughed coldly. He won't know what kind of inheritance we've gotten. Giving him a simple message. We'll just tell him that this is what we've gotten. What can he do? Luo Feng nodded. Humanity's 4 strongest warriors. Just giving the information to the Genesis Island Lord could exchange for over 400 Universe Lords joining them. They all felt that this deal was worth it. And we'll give him a portion before the war, and a portion after the war. Luo Feng smiled. Giving him a portion before the war will make him jealous. Giving him a portion after the war, he may feel it was too simple, but the war is over. So what if he regrets? Right. We can agree to it. The upper echelon of humanity quickly nodded. The Primal Chaos City leader had even contacted the ancestor once. He too agreed. Firstly, it was only for one. Secondly, even if he got the simple information, it would be extremely difficult for the Genesis Island Lord to break through to his limit. Earth. Our human race has already discussed. Luo Feng looked at the Genesis Island Lord before him. We agree to this. The Genesis Island Lord let out a sigh of relief and smiled. Before the war, we humans will give you 1/3 of the information. If the Freedom Alliance joins us humans to fight after the war, we'll give you the other 2/3. All right. The Genesis Island Lord nodded. When will you give me the information? Very soon. Luo Feng said. When your human race gives me the information, I'll very quickly urge the Freedom Alliance to join you humans. The Genesis Island Lord said directly. The human race had indeed gotten a portion of the information that day and passed it to the Genesis Island Lord, causing him to be extremely excited after reading it. Just this portion of the information was enough to move him, causing him to desire the remaining 2/3 of the information even more. However, this had to wait until after the war. Humanity was anxiously waiting. Will the Genesis Island Lord, after receiving the information, not help us humans? Relax, the Genesis Island Lord has spent so much effort to create the Freedom Alliance and become the Alliance leader. For what? Isn't it for the inheritance? If the other Universe Lords of the Freedom Alliance get it, it won't benefit him at all. It's enough for him to get it for himself, he'll settle it. Luo Feng, Darkness Lord and the Primal Chaos City leader were all anxiously waiting. They too were worried that something unexpected would happen. After all, the Freedom Alliance was an alliance with many strong warriors. Even with the help of the Genesis Island Lord, they might not have a 100% guarantee. Half a month after giving the Genesis Island Lord part of the inheritance experience, the Genesis Island Lord's information finally arrived. The Freedom Alliance has already united their thoughts. They've decided to join the human race. To be continued. If you like this work, please come to Chidien.com to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1329. The vast primal universe was split into 2 camps. The human camp's gathering point was the primal region, while the Allied Army's gathering point was Bloodtooth Planet. 90% of the Bloodtooth Planet was a vast ocean. At this moment, there was an ancient ship floating above the Bloodtooth Planet. The most powerful existences in the entire primeval universe were gathered on this ship. They were together, drinking the most precious wine and the rarest food. If we work together, what are the puny humans? Freedom Alliance? They're so loose. They're only united because of the pressure from the 2 great factions. Once the war is over, just watch and see. The Freedom Alliance will definitely be divided internally. They won't be a match for us at all. The 10 mighty existences sat down and began to talk loudly. They were the Demon Ancestor, Automaton Godfather, Bug Race Queen, Prison Race Demon Ancestor, Crystal Race Saint Leader, Creator of Dark Aeon, Ujo, Void Demon God, North Border Alliance Leader and Star Ancestor. They already made up more than half of the strongest in the primal universe. If we work together and combine our many treasures, we'll definitely be able to unleash our greatest power. Even if the Freedom Alliance and the human camp join forces, we still have a chance of winning. Right. It's a pity that old punk Mountain Passenger isn't joining either side. Who knows what he's thinking? If he joins, with his mysterious methods, along with the many universe lords under us, we'll be able to unleash our many methods and our chances of winning will greatly increase. You don't know about this. The starry sky primogenitor sat there, his tail extended out of the ship and into the ocean. The relationship between Mountain Guest and Luo Feng is much deeper than you know. Ah! Mountain Passenger and Luo Feng? What relationship? They all looked shocked at the Star Ancestor. Teacher and disciple. Star Ancestor looked around and said these two words. Immediately, the strongest of the universe couldn't help but be shocked. Back then, Mountain Passenger did tell the Star Ancestor not to leak the news, unless Luo Feng had the ability to protect himself. Now that Luo Feng had the ability to protect himself, he didn't offend Mountain Passenger by saying it. After all, deep down, the more the Star Ancestor interacted with Mountain Passenger, the more he feared Mountain Passenger. However, this matter made him very unhappy and angry. He believed that the teacher, sitting Mountain Passenger, must have received some benefits. After all, in the vast universe, the most important relationship between master and disciple was the relationship between master and disciple. How could the starry sky primogenitor not be jealous of Mountain Guest? I see. That Mountain Guest created that disciple of the Flare Emperor. Now, he has created a Milky Way overlord that is even more powerful than the Flare Emperor. That damned Mountain Guest! He must have received the inheritance from his disciple long ago. No wonder he didn't even participate when I invited him. This guy is always the first to get the benefit. Humph. They were a group of existences at the highest level of the primeval universe. Over the long years, they had often fought with each other, so they had some understanding of the other strongest experts. But when it came to mountain travelers, they all had complicated feelings of jealousy, envy, and fear. Sometimes, he even had to beg the mountain traveler. No one knew how strong Mountain Guest was. All they knew was that Mountain Guest had never fought head-on with anyone before. He had always used some supplementary means to fool them. Just as this group of the greatest existences in the primeval universe was chatting freely on the big ship, talking about the faction war, the cosmic sea, and the other strongest people. Just as they were talking to their heart's content, suddenly, the machinery race godfather's tall, streamlined body stood up. Although the machinist race's godfather was often inside the black oval sphere, he also had a divine body. It was just that he walked the mechanical path, so it was safer to stay inside, and he could unleash more power in battle. However, in the primeval universe, he could only unleash peak rank 6 combat power, so it was normal for his true body to appear. Everyone. The insectoid queen also revealed a shocked expression. What's wrong? What happened? The creator of Black Aeon, Void Demonic God, and the others all looked over, confused. What could have caused the insectoid queen and the machinist race's godfather to lose their composure? I just received the news. The machinist race's godfather's voice was powerful. The Freedom Alliance has formed a consensus to join the human faction. What? Join the human faction? Not good. All of their expressions changed. Previously, without the addition of the strongest experts, the Allied forces would not be able to defeat the alliance of the Freedom Alliance and the humans. However, with so many of the strongest experts and their ultimate treasures, as well as the help of the Astral Beast Alliance, they could definitely fight. However, it would be too difficult to fight like this, as their strength would not be too different. Move immediately, no, move immediately, we move immediately. The star sky primogenitor roared. We can't care anymore, our allied forces will move immediately, and kill our way to the core of the humans, the primeval secret realm. Old beast god, the strongest experts looked at the star sky primogenitor. Yes, old beast god is right. Yes. Yes, we should move immediately. They were very intelligent, and even if the star sky primogenitor did not say it, they would have thought of it. The Freedom Alliance has just formed a consensus, and most likely has not received the inheritance information from the humans. While they have not completely gathered, we should immediately kill our way to the humans' primeval secret realm. The battle between the two factions is very short, and by the time the Freedom Alliance arrives, our battle might already be over. Yes. Make use of every second we have. Everyone thought so. They all understood, if the humans and the Freedom Alliance allied, then this battle would be very painful, and it might even become a war of attrition. No one could predict the outcome. After all, if the humans and the Freedom Alliance allied, it would mean that the two most mysterious mountain guest and the Genesis Island Lord were there, along with Luo Feng, who had received the inheritance from the Duandong River. This battle was filled with variables. They too did not wish to fight a war of attrition, one that was filled with variables. They had to end it quickly. We have to be quick, and end this battle as soon as possible. They too were panicking. They were very clear that the Freedom Alliance's movement speed would be very fast. With just a god country transfer and a teleportation, they would probably arrive. Hence, to end the battle before the Freedom Alliance arrived was simply too difficult. However, they had to do it. It was the only relatively easy way to end the battle quickly. Old Beast God, will your Space Beast Alliance follow the previous plan, or? Demon Zhen looked at the Star Sky primogenitor. We can't care about the other plans. Right now we have to concentrate our strength and crush the humans in one move, and finally capture the group of Universe Lords. Star Sky primogenitor said seriously. Go! 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 The moment they moved, they were naturally fast. Like the old beast god, Demon Zhen and the others, even though they looked the same as their true bodies, they were actually just clones. Their true bodies had already begun to command the armies of their respective clans to set out. A mere 3 minutes later, in the vast starry sky outside Blood-Tooth Planet, numerous colossal figures were gathered. At a glance, there were a total of 11 huge palace-type treasures. Each of them was guarded by the 11 strongest experts of the universe, and each of them led about 40 masters of the universe. Every palace treasure was a combination of the strongest expert and about 40 masters of the universe. The 11 strongest people in the universe were Demon Forefather Zhen, Demon Forefather Dream, Machine Race Father God, Zerg Race Queen, Prison Race Demon Forefather, Crystal Race Sacred Lord, Northern Frontier Alliance Leader, Star Race Primogenitor, Creator of Dark Aeon, Disaster Aeon, and Void Demon God. The last time the three races fought against the humans. Why couldn't Luo Feng take away the group of Universe Lords protected by the Automaton Race Father God? That was because the Automaton Race Father God was always within the black oval ball, protecting the group of Universe Lords. Even if the group of Universe Lords didn't have much resistance against the ancient God Ai's willpower attack, the Automaton Race Father God could still resist. Right now, the Allied army did this, splitting into 11 teams, each led by one of the strongest warriors of the universe. The ancient God Ai could at most attack one team, and even if it did, with the strongest guarding by the side, they would be fine. This battle. What we need to do is to kill our way into the human race's primordial mystic realm. Then, we will use our methods together to completely destroy the human camp. Then, we will rely on the queen of the Zerg race's female palace to wantonly devour the human race's masters of the universe. All Universe Lords. For the race. For the future. Let's go, human primal region. Along with the automaton race Father God's voice resounding throughout, the entire Allied Army's 11 majestic beings all used their God country teleportation and left. The Allied Army didn't attack earlier because they were waiting for the Freedom Alliance's response. After all, if the Freedom Alliance didn't make a decision, they would immediately attack the humans. Then, the Freedom Alliance would definitely be enraged because the Allied Army's actions would cause them to lose all benefit. The Freedom Alliance would probably quickly join the human camp. Previously, they were afraid of forcing the Freedom Alliance to join the human camp, so they didn't dare to act. Now that they received the secret message and confirmed that the Freedom Alliance was united in their decision to join the human camp, they naturally didn't care anymore. At the same time, Human Domain, Primal Region. Main Hall. The group of human universe masters were all gathered here, laughing and chatting with each other, their hearts filled with joy. The Freedom Alliance is united. Very soon, they will all rush over. Once they arrive and distribute the Universe Lords properly, the Allied Army will have no chance of winning. Haha, they were all waiting for the Freedom Alliance's large group of Universe Lords to arrive. Don't tell me the Allied Army also received the news and seized the opportunity to attack? Lord Nether Marquis suddenly said. Instantly, the hall fell silent. Don't worry. Master of Works Ping smiled. That is the highest level meeting of the Freedom Alliance. Only the Universe Lords know about it. This concerns their own interest. The moment they made the decision, they informed us. Don't tell me they are stupid enough to inform the Allied Army? Aren't they afraid that they won't receive the inheritance? Just as he finished speaking, not good. The Primal Chaos City Lord's expression changed. He shouted, "Gather immediately, all Universe Lords, gather immediately and prepare for battle." His voice boomed, resounding in the ears of every Universe Lord in the core region of the Primal Region. Today is Monday. I'm begging for recommendation votes. Everyone has recommendation votes every day. I hope everyone will support me. To be continued. If you like this work, please come to Chidien.com to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1330. Hearing the message from the Primal Chaos City leader, Luo Feng, Pring Gong and Darkness Lord's expressions all changed. They knew something was wrong. The ancestor has just discovered. The Primal Chaos City Master immediately transmitted to the many human masters of the universe in the palace. The demon race, automaton race, bug race, and other allied forces are currently undergoing the God Nation teleportation at the same time. They should be gathering around a star in the demon territory called Bloodtooth Planet. They have already gathered, all they need to do is teleport, and they will reach the primal region very quickly. We don't have much time left. Immediately all the Universe Lords enter the Black Prison Tower. Junior brother, I'll leave the matter of the Universe Lords to you. Darkness Lord nodded. Schwa, 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 schwa. One figure after another appeared in the hall. They were the figures of the alien race masters of the universe who had joined the human camp. Seeing this, the Master of Darkness did not waste any time. With a wave of his hand, the Black Pyramid instantly enlarged and stood in the hall. At the same time, he ordered, "Everyone, quickly enter the Black Prison Tower and prepare for battle." "All right. Enter the Black Prison Tower." Absolute treasure Black Prison Tower. Amongst the Universe Lords, especially those that had just joined the human camp, this was their first time seeing the Black Prison Tower. None of these Universe Lords panicked, because they were clear, if they hid within the palace's absolute treasure, and the enemy didn't have any willpower-type treasures, then they would still be safe. If they couldn't handle it, they could immediately hide within the palace's absolute treasure, at least staying alive wouldn't be a problem. So, streaks of light flew into the Black Prison Pagoda one after another. Only after they all entered did the Primal Chaos City leader let out a sigh of relief. No matter what, the preparations had been made. They could head out for battle anytime. Everyone. Only then did the primal Chaos City leader communicate to the over 100 Universe Lords within the Black Prison Tower. The Allied army is suddenly attacking, they should be arriving soon. The Allied army's strength far exceeds ours. However, don't worry. I have another piece of good news to tell everyone. The Freedom Alliance has already agreed to join our human camp. This battle, we just need to hold on for a while and we'll definitely win. Luo Feng, Peng Gong, Darkness, you all know what to do, right? The primal Chaos City leader looked at the three. Luo Feng and the others smiled and nodded. It was just a war of attrition. It was simple. All Undying and Sector Lords, immediately teleport out of the God Country. Immediately teleport out of the God Country. Primal Chaos City Master also transmitted his orders. Immediately, the servants and patrolling guards all started to move in an orderly fashion the moment they heard the order. A group of Sector Lords followed an Undying in a small team, sometimes a few teams escaped together. Anyways, in less than a minute, hundreds of teleportation ripples appeared in the core area of the Primal Secret Region. Primal Chaos City Lord also nodded his head. Let's go. The Primal Chaos City leader ordered. Luo Feng and the other two nodded. Immediately, the Darkness Emperor became a beam of light and flew into the Black Prison Tower. Luo Feng, Peng Gong and the Primal Chaos City leader all became beams of light and flew towards the majestic Star Tower outside. In the primitive mystic realm, in a space filled with mist, 11 majestic behemoths were hovering in the air. We have entered the humans' primordial secret realm. With another teleportation, we will arrive at the core of the human race. Everyone, prepare for battle. All ready. Right now, I will control the teleportation. The automaton Godfather's cold voice resounded throughout the space, almost as though it didn't require time to transmit. Hua! Without a sound, the 11 enormous palaces and treasures disappeared into the void. Secluded palaces stretched out and floated in the void. Behind these palaces, there was a huge warship, the Grave Ship. And before the palaces was a majestic 9-story pagoda, Star Tower. At this time, there was no sound at all in the palaces, there wasn't a single life form within. In this space-time, 11 towering palaces and treasures suddenly appeared, each emitting a monstrous aura. Why isn't there a single human? It's so empty. There's no life form, even the other races can't be found. As soon as they arrived, the strongest people in the universe leading the treasures of each palace were shocked to find that this core area seemed to have become a dead land. They couldn't find a single living being, and this situation was what they were most worried about. The Star Tower and Tomb Boat are both here. Although the Star Tower's defense is strong, it can still be shaken by us, but the Tomb Boat, no matter how we attack, it's useless. The human camp must be afraid, so they hid in the Tomb Boat, and then slowly waited for the Freedom Alliance to arrive. The creator of Dark Aeon immediately transmitted. Everyone, they are hiding in the Tomb Boat and we can't even shake it. What do we do? The prison race's demon ancestor transmitted. Despicable humans, cowardly humans. Damn it! How did they immediately know that we moved? We moved very quickly, and they should have been caught unprepared. One after another, the strongest warriors of the universe were enraged. At this time, a black pyramid suddenly flew out from the side door at the bottom of the towering 9-story pagoda. The black pyramid was 1 billion kilometers tall, and the abyss at the bottom had already opened. At the edge of the abyss stood a circle of Universe Lords, including the Darkness Lord, the Dragon Lord, the Ice Peak Lord, and many other alien race Universe Lords. A total of 139 Universe Lords were gathered here. And the moment the Black Prison Pagoda appeared, these 139 Universe Lords unleashed their soul attacks together. Attack! In an instant, soul attacks that covered the entire sky swept out. However, soul attacks were formless and colorless, and could not be seen with the naked eye. At this moment, these 139 Universe Lords, even those who specialized in close combat and material attacks, were all unleashing soul attack. Wow! The formless and colorless soul attacks instantly struck the Dome Palace treasure closest to the Star Pagoda. Not good. Be careful of soul attacks. The Allied army instantly felt that something was wrong. However, they had directly charged into the core area, and was originally close to the Star Pagoda. Secondly, they thought that the human camp experts were hiding in the tomb boat, and were not too wary of the Star Pagoda. In an instant, over 100 Universe Lords combined their attacks, and focused on one of the 11 palaces. The Peak Palace treasure was not an ultimate treasure, and could not defend against soul attacks. Block it! The prison race's demon ancestor roared angrily. Hong Long Long, the large group of universe masters around him, did not sense it at first. But as the soul attack neared, they naturally sensed it. All of them immediately executed their Voidified God Force soul attacks and blasted them out. However, on the other side were 139. On the other side were about 40, and one of the universe's strongest warriors. The difference was simply too great. This was one of the disadvantages of splitting up. Splitting into 11 teams did indeed reduce the effectiveness of the ancient god eye, but at the same time, if the human side's attack landed on one of the teams, it was almost impossible for a single team to defend against such a terrifying attack. Therefore, the ideal situation would be for the 11 teams to attack together, and the human side could only passively defend or even collapse. This way, the other side would not be able to attack, and naturally, there would be no threat. However, the moment the battle began, the humans' collective soul attacks came charging over. They were formless and colorless, and by the time the Allied army noticed them, they were already very close. The other teams did not even have the time to help defend. Boom! The mighty soul attack, after breaking through the resistance of the prison clan's ancestral demon squad, directly descended. Including the prison race's demon ancestor, the 40 or so Universe Lords, all suffered the impact of the soul attack. Ah! Humans! For a time, howls and curses rang out. However, it was already good enough that they could curse. The portion of the Universe Lords who suffered the attack directly collapsed, completely losing consciousness. Attack! 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 Only then did the other 10 teams cover the skies and cover the earth as they charged towards the human camp. Demon Ancestor, how is it? What are the losses? Immediately, one voice after another asked. Thankfully, only one unlucky fellow perished. The Fiend Ancestor sent a voice transmission. Attack! The Demon Ancestor roared as well. Having survived this ordeal, the Universe Lords under him immediately roared angrily, and also began to attack crazily towards the Black Jail Pagoda in the distance. Although the human soul attacks were very frightening, firstly, they were much weaker after being neutralized. Secondly, the attack was first blocked by the prison race's demon ancestor, and the others only suffered from the aftershocks. The Universe Lord's soul defenses were extremely strong to begin with, and only one unlucky fellow failed to withstand it. Although the others had a hard time, they still managed to withstand it. Within the Allied army camp, the 11 palaces and treasures simultaneously exploded with attacks that covered the skies and covered the earth, sweeping towards the Black Jail Pagoda. The power was so strong that it caused the human side to tremble. So, the Black Jail Pagoda, which had originally flown out of the Star Pagoda's side door, instantly retreated back into the Star Pagoda. Too strong, the Allied army's attacks are simply too strong, we don't even have the courage to block them. The Darkness Lord communicated. Back when the human side fought against the 3 races, the human side was suppressed to the point of almost collapsing, and the difference in power between the 2 sides was much smaller than now. This time, on one side were the 11 strongest warriors of the universe, and about 400 Universe Lords. On the other side were over 100 Universe Lords. The difference in power was simply too huge. The treasure we attacked just now exploded with another powerful attack, and compared to the other treasure teams, it's not much different. Primal Chaos, our sneak attack earlier, the results should be very small, at most we killed 1 or 2 Universe Lords. We didn't even kill a single one. The Darkness Lord continued to inform. Then let's wait within the Star Pagoda, for the Freedom Alliance to arrive. Within the Star Pagoda's other side door, Luo Feng, Primal Chaos City Leader and Pring Gong were all there. To be continued. If you like this work, please come to Chidian.com to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1331. In the quiet universe space, the island in the center of the vast golden waves was the core of the Freedom Alliance. Over 400 Universe Lords were gathered here, all sitting on their thrones. They had just come to a consensus and were waiting for the humans to pass on the inheritance information to them. The Origin Island Lord sat on his throne, one hand holding a wine glass and swirling it. He lowered his head to look at the glass, smiling and feeling proud within, using the Freedom Alliance's power to force the humans. Then, I contacted the humans in secret, and with just me as the price, the entire Freedom Alliance joined. I easily obtained the information of someone who has cultivated to the peak of the universe's strongest. Thinking about this, the Origin Island Lord was even prouder. He was more and more impressed with himself. Actually, ever since Luo Feng obtained the inheritance of the East Duan River, the Origin Island Lord knew that the primal universe was destined to be in chaos. As the humans grew stronger and stronger, the conflicts with the other races in the primal universe would only get more intense, to the point of creating a huge storm. Hence from then on, he began to plot in secret, trying his best to make friends with the rest of the Universe Lords. The rest of the Universe Lords had low statuses. To be able to make friends with the strongest warriors was naturally more than they could ask for. Hence, he quickly made friends with a large group of Universe Lords. The moment he heard that the creator of the huge axe had fallen, the Origin Island Lord immediately understood this was a catalyst, causing a huge war to erupt prematurely. If it wasn't for the creator's fall, the other races would probably still be secretly contacting each other and slowly preparing. They wouldn't be this quick. Hence he immediately hastened his actions. Everything went according to plan while the two factions were pressuring the other races. The Origin Island Lord immediately made use of his old connections and began to lobby, quickly gathering a bunch of powers. Using this power to lobby the other powers, finally forming a super alliance, the Freedom Alliance. Be the alliance leader? To me, it's useless. What I'm after is truly invincible, transcending the reincarnation cycle. The first thing I want to do is to reach the level of the ancestor, followed by transcending the reincarnation cycle. Like the East Emperor ancestor, like the Purple Moon ancestor. The Origin Island Lord's chest rumbled with a powerful desire. As a lone warrior, he didn't care about the power of the Alliance, he only needed to make use of the Alliance. The Shiva Island Lord had been very relaxed. His consciousness was also connected to the virtual universe, waiting for the human's reply. In the past, he had also connected to the virtual universe, but he needed some concealment methods. However, after the negotiations between the Freedom Alliance and the humans, all the Universe Lords and the strongest of the Freedom Alliance had the authority to connect to the virtual universe. In this way, the two sides could communicate quickly. Genesis Island Lord's leisurely expression immediately disappeared, replaced by solemnity and anger. He immediately looked around and shouted angrily, "Everyone! Just now we had just come to an agreement, but now the Allied army has actually killed their way into the humans' primitive mystic realm." This shout reverberated through every inch of space on the island, causing the 400-odd masters of the universe who had been chatting and waiting for the news of the inheritance to be dumbfounded. How could this be? Why is the Allied army attacking the humans at this time? We've just come to an agreement. Why did the Allied forces attack the humans? Who was it? Who was it? Who spread the news? Don't you know that doing this will threaten the inheritance information we're about to receive? Who leaked the news? The masters of the universe on the island were enraged. The most infuriated was the Genesis Island Lord, because this could very well ruin his plans. Obviously, one of us must have leaked the news. The Genesis Island Lord's cold gaze swept across the many masters of the universe present. This is destroying the future hopes of all the masters of the universe. Unforgivable. Of course, it could just be that one of us accidentally leaked it while chatting with a disciple or friend, but there's no need to fuss over all of this now. At least the humans are in hiding, and the Allied army can't do anything to them, so the situation hasn't worsened. What we need to do now is immediately head to the human domain and join the human side. All right. Yes. Let's go now. All the masters of the universe present must be present. Whoever doesn't go will be suspected of leaking the news. Some of the masters of the universe who were worried that their hopes of breaking through to the strongest of the universe would be destroyed were indeed gritting their teeth in anger. Who was it that spread the news to the Allied army? Let's go. Let's go. Very quickly, the majestic 6 palaces appeared in the air above the island, after which they swiftly teleported away from the God country. Even though they were an alliance, the internal strife was indeed severe. Some of the scattered races had enmity with each other. Naturally, they weren't willing to stay together. Hence, they split into 6 teams, and each team had over 70 universe lords. One could only imagine how strong they were. Human domain, primal region. The 9-story tower stood in the air, and in the distance, there were 11 treasures from the palace. They attacked crazily, covering the sky and earth, destroying the world. It caused the entire space to turn into an endless flow of particles, rumbling as they landed on the star tower. Pung long long, rumble, the pagoda was hit, and even though it trembled slightly, it actually didn't get blown away. This caused the Allied army to be shocked. We have so many universe lords, the 11 strongest of the universe, such a powerful combination, and yet we can't even blow that pagoda away? Don't tell me the 100+ universe lords within the pagoda are all trying their best to stabilize it? The pagoda is controlled by Luofeng. This Luofeng has acquired the inheritance of the Duandong River. Anything can happen. The tomb boat, the willpower attack treasures, they were all taken out by him. The Allied army was furious, and very quickly their attacks stopped. Because they were clear that attacking was a waste of God energy. Just like how the human sneak attack was successful earlier, it was because the target was a Pinnacle Palace treasure. As a Pinnacle Palace treasure, it had almost no soul defense. However, the strongest treasures were different. Star Pagoda, Black Prison Pagoda, etc., hiding within, could block all the material attacks and soul attacks. Looks like we'll have to fight a war of attrition. When the Freedom Alliance arrives, it'll be troublesome. No matter what, we definitely can't give up on this battle. We definitely can't watch the humans get stronger. At least with our combined forces, if we let the humans roam freely, that would be a huge joke. Within the Star Pagoda, within one of the side doors, Luofeng, Primal Chaos City Leader and Pung Worker were gathered together. Blown away? Luofeng laughed. Haha, Endless Dark Ocean is one of my clones, however even so, when placed within the Star Pagoda, I can control it myself, and even moving it is extremely difficult. Right now Endless Dark Ocean is within the Star Pagoda. Who knows how heavy the Star Pagoda is, to even try to blow it away? The Allied army is definitely furious this time. Pung Worker shook his head. I'm afraid even now, they still don't know all their movements. With the ancestor around, we can detect them ahead of time. Luofeng and the Primal Chaos City Leader nodded. Even within the human race, before this, Luofeng and the others didn't know that the ancestor knew everything within the primal universe, much less the other races. Wait, once the Freedom Alliance arrives, everything will be easy. The Primal Chaos City leader said. If there wasn't the Freedom Alliance, the Allied forces could completely trap the humans, trap them forever. They only needed to leave 200 Universe Lords and a few of the strongest to stay, and they would be able to suppress the humans. The other Universe Lords could be rotated, and they could enter the Universe Sea at any time, stealing all of the human territories, trapping the entire human camp. This would force the humans to have no room to grow. Very quickly, the other races within the human camp would probably leave, as they too had to consider their own race. This would cause the humans to get weaker and weaker, finally finding it hard to maintain their footing in the primal universe. They might even have to retreat to the primal universe. It's just that Luo Feng actually dares to do that. The Primal Chaos City leader looked at Luo Feng, sighing within. That plan was too dangerous. Of course, the humans wouldn't be in danger. The one in danger was Luo Feng himself. We can't do that. With the Freedom Alliance joining, our power will immediately hold the advantage. Luo Feng won't have to take the risk. The Allied army's goal is doomed to fail. The Primal Chaos City leader waited. He was still in contact with the Primal Island leader in the virtual universe. The island leader even told him that he would be arriving soon. Luo Feng, Pring worker leader and the Primal Chaos City leader looked through the star pagoda at the distant 6 huge beings that suddenly appeared. They're here. They're here. Luo Feng immediately revealed a look of glee. The Primal Chaos City leader and the many Universe Lords within the Black Prison Pagoda were all excited. In space, the Allied army had a total of 11 palaces. At this time they were very close to each other. They were already discussing in secret. As they were clear, this sudden ambush plan, the enemy seemed to have dodged in advance, causing them to fail in their goal. This way, they were forced to engage in the most frenzied battle of attrition. They're here. The Freedom Alliance has arrived. They also saw the appearance of the 6 great palace treasures in the distance. The 6 palace treasures all emitted a monstrous pressure. Clearly, the group of Universe Lords within the palace treasures had done this on purpose. The 6 palaces of the Freedom Alliance arrived majestically, emitting endless pressure, almost as though they were displaying their might as the number 1 power of the primal universe. Humans, we've already arrived. We've already arrived. Even though this space was affected by the strongest warriors, causing the virtual universe to be forced open. However, they all had their own clones within their own race territories. Naturally, they could connect to the virtual universe. Hence the 6 palaces each had a representative. Obviously they were the representatives of the 6 big clans, all contacting the humans. Freedom Alliance, please hurry and help us humans. We'll work together to repel the Allied army. The Primal Chaos City leader replied. No rush. Primal Chaos City leader, don't rush. You humans, first give us a portion of the inheritance information. According to what we said, give us a portion before the battle. After the battle, give us a portion. Give us a portion of the inheritance information first. We'll look at it and verify it. We'll naturally help you. Otherwise, it won't be easy for us to act. Right. Give us a portion of the inheritance information first. The leaders of the 6 great clans of the Freedom Alliance all did so. If you like this work, please come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation.